You're tuned into news across the galaxy where they talk all things LA Galaxy with the Nag Boys. Let's start nagging.
Welcome to News Across the Galaxy, where we talk all things LA Galaxy. Sometimes a little bit of USMT, sometimes some wrestling, and sometimes just some random ass shit. How's everybody doing? My name is Bryant. I am joined, as usual, my co-host, Mr. Edgar Zuniga. How you doing, sir?
Hey, what's up, man? Usually I'm here at NAG Tower East, but today I heard we had a special guest, so I wanted to get a jump on things, and I flew out here to the Midwest, and I think I got lost. I lived in Kansas before, but I really don't know where the hell I am. I think, Kevin, am I in your backyard? What's going on?
Yeah, I got you, bro. Just drive 3 more miles, take a right. There's an airport. I'll get you back home. All right.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
And of course, that unfamiliar voice, all the way from Kansas, with a very nice mustache.
Hey,
Argentine. Hello, Kevin Cho. How are you doing today, sir?
Hey guys, I'm good. Thank you for having me. Very excited to come on. Time to talk with some Galaxy folks. You know, I don't know. Like, let me see. I'm trying to think. I don't think, and I hope I don't put anyone on blast. I don't think I've talked to a Galaxy specific podcast. So debut.
Yes. So we're the first ones exclusive. You heard that here first on
exclusive cap, baby.
Yes, that's right.
Before we get into anything though, Edgar, you know what your background reminds me of? Do you guys remember that Smash Brothers commercial, the first ever Smash Brothers commercial, where they're running through the field and they kick the shit out of each other?
No matter how they toss the dice.
It's beautiful. It looks very peaceful. It's very nice.
Wait a minute. What's that voice I hear? Is there somebody else here?
So
wait a minute. Who's
together.
on the ones and twos?
And of course, on the ones and twos, not on camera today because he's fucking ugly. My very dear friend, Eddie. How you doing, Eddie?
Not so good after that comment, you fucking
Ew.
dick.
Gee,
Hey,
that's
I
two
still
shows
love
in
you.
a row. You forget about Eddie, man.
That is 2 shows in a row. My bad, bro. You do exist. Sorry, you do exist. You matter. Anyway,
Very important.
let's start off with the basic stuff. Kevincho,
Mm.
you support a team that is an originator from the 1996 inauguration of MLS.
Right.
Your background is Argentine. How did this
Yes.
connection to this specific team come about?
Yeah, the story is like not it's weird because I moved. Okay, so skipping a lot of the background here. I'm from Argentina. Most of my family's from Argentina, but my dad is American. So once we moved to the United States, it was like I mean, I don't think it was gonna be a set thing. We're gonna be in Kansas forever. It was like a time thing. But once it became a thing where we knew, okay, we're gonna be here for a while. I started growing up just kind of only knowing one thing, and it was, the football in Argentina. And my brother didn't watch any other football around the world, and mostly because I'm sure you guys are obviously aware, it was like in South America you can kind of only watch what they got, especially at the time. It's not like we had satellite TV. We were watching the Premier League or anything at the time. So I only had one thing. I only had one kind of viewpoint of football or soccer until once I got a little older. I've heard that there was a professional team in Kansas City on the Kansas side, and I just didn't really understand what that was. I didn't know what MLS was. So like by 2010, 2011, I thought, look, now I could watch games. I can like go to games. It'd be kind of interesting to go to one of these games. And one of the first ever game, maybe my second game ever, was the 2013 MLS Cup final, which was a
Hey.
pure surprise. I mean, it was my older brother who still to this day does not watch anything other than Argentinian football, but he was just like, all right, we're going to, we're going to hang out in Kansas City. We had this whole day planned, and I was kind of confused because, I mean, they were telling me to wear like super warm, crazy jackets, and I'm just like, what are we like? We could be outside, and then I found out like, 20 feet outside of the stadium, like, oh hey, by the way, we're going to this MLS Cup final that none of us really knew anything about. And ever since then, I've just been a sporting fan. So I always joke around it saying like it's my adopted club, and it really feels that way. So which, not to skip to where we're gonna go into, but makes things a little bit weird down the road when you're passionate about something or you care about something, and it feels like a side club. You get like kind of like mixed feelings, but yeah, it got me into MLS. It got me into the American game. Then I started watching, Team USA very rarely, to be honest, but like it just started opening doors that I didn't even know were there. Got me excited that the US does care about the sport. There are fans here. There are very passionate fans that I thought didn't even exist. And like there's like a real future. And that was then. And then compared to now is like whole different league. That's like, 11 years ago, and I don't know, the last 3 years we're in a different league, in my opinion. So yeah, and Galaxy is one of those teams that a blue blood, a team that, is like the OG when you think of MLS, I think everywhere in the world. So it's just nice to support a club that's just been here for so long and had to transition through all the crazy stages,
Well,
It's interesting. Oh, go ahead.
I will. I'll go for it.
Actually, real quick on the chat, just want to address this real quick for Kevincho. Andrew Alessana, who's actually one of the capos and I believe presidents of Riot Squad, which is one of the supporter groups here at the Galaxy. He said, shout out to SKC fans for doing good work to change their front office. So we'll obviously get into that later.
We'll get into that conversation in a bit. But before that, I wanted to the comparison, not a comparison of the fandom, because I know I see your background. You're a River fan. The Argentine league is known to have some rambunctious fans that are
psychos. Yeah.
Since you started watching Kansas to where it is now, just in general, league aspect, do you think MLS is onto something when it comes to having the fans here and having the actual sport be something you can actually watch as a world football advocate?
Yeah, I'm trying. I know what podcast I'm in right now, so I'll be careful what I'm saying. But like,
No, let it loose. Let it loose.
for a while,
Let
I
it
think
go,
for a
man.
while, like, honestly, like, Sporting is not a club I would say like gives me any of those vibes, and that's just I don't know, puro. Let me be careful. I don't think we just have the diversity sometimes in this area, in my opinion, where I don't see, I don't see that, and that it's not always that, but like sometimes it's just the knowledge of what you should do as a supporter group, and what a real supporter group is like. What is a real football atmosphere? At one point, Sporting was like one of those clubs that looked like they knew what they were doing. They made this stadium that at the time was like a really nice stadium, especially for MLS. They it looked like they were going the right direction, and it felt that way. And then it got really stale. Like that's for us. But on the other hand, we have newer clubs that are coming in that are showing other teams, including us, what it's like and it should be like to have that type of environment. That's like your Austins were really good, especially last year or the year before. LAFC is pretty good. I'm just gonna say on that as well.
We admitted that here. We admitted
Okay,
that here.
okay. But you know, it's a lot of vibes, and those are things that do remind me of that. Of course, like an 80,000 seat stadium is not going to compare to a 23,000 seat stadium. So there you have that. But when it comes to passion, I mean, yeah, outside the games, I've seen. That's why I want to go out to LA and just experience what that's like. What is it like to like spend a couple hours before the game and get like smash drunk and then go in and then go crazy, and that's what I like. I don't know if you LA Galaxy fans feel the same way, but sometimes I'm just like, man, like it's possible. We could do it. Like my club could do it, your club could do it. It's just like something's not there, something's not clicky, or whatever it is. But yeah, no, I think we're on the right track. It's just we're so early that these leagues had 100 years to go through this, and they had all the generations of fans that where it becomes like
religion.
It becomes kind of religion. It becomes a little scary if I wore a certain color in a certain area. I'm not gonna have that in the U.S. I don't think, but yeah, I think we're on our way. Just no panic. I think some clubs, like I'm gonna say my club, needs to wake up, because at some points I'm like, man, I've been to last couple games I went to. I would be honest. I mean, I could have fell asleep in that stadium, dude. Like I could sit, put my feet up, sit back, relax and just chill. But that's just not what I feel like it should be. It should kind of be crazy, but I don't know. I think it depends on the market. It depends on so many things, but I think we're on our way slowly.
Edgar, same question to you. I know you've been following the league since its inception, and you've been a reporter in this league for a very long time. What have you seen the progress in this league compared to world football?
Oh, it's like night and day to me, because I remember I was there at the very first Galaxy game where the Galaxians had already formed at that point, but it was still just a small group of people, and they were still trying to figure out some of the chants. Interestingly enough, a gentleman we spoke to, who was the original president of the Galaxians, he's Argentino. He's a big fan of Club Independiente and a very good friend of mine. Him is Ozzy Gomez. And he was the guy who pretty much got everything started with the Galaxians. So, Kevin, that's something that's really nice. Feather in Argentina's cap right there. And so, but at the beginning, it was really hard to get people on board with like, hey, we got to do these nice elaborate chants.
Right.
But it was very simple. It was more like boom, 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 LA Galaxy, which to this day is still like the go-to like fallback, chant.
OG.
Right. But over the years, there's been a maturation period. There are stages that the league has gone through, and LA Galaxy has been there every step of the way. LA is a global city, so we have a lot of influences coming in, a lot of people putting, their own ingredients into the pot. And what we have now at the stadium is a very nice and tasty environment, whether you're a local or it's your first time or you're a visitor. You're gonna come in and you're gonna have a good time. Now, you mentioned LAFC. LAFC is, I guess, it's a more condensed version of that. But a lot of times you're going to hear Galaxy fans say that, they consider them plastic because they do mic them up, which is interesting. They mic up their supporters. and they do have like on the video board, what the chant should be, so that way the crowd can join them.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
so it's you think, oh, this is nice, very organic. You hear Taylor Twellman yells just like on TV, right?
Every time. But Taylor is such a deep throater,
calm down, Taylor. And so so I mean good for them, I guess, because they're trying to get the people that maybe aren't interested to go in the game to understand and get their primer into the league. So but you got to do it one way or another, right? I got to give credit to the guys out in Charlotte, the guys in St. Louis, the guys in Atlanta, because when I first heard that, let me begin with Atlanta, because I remember the old Silverbacks, and I remember how they would draw well, but never, ever that I ever believed that they could fill up a big stadium. And they didn't just fill up, that original football stadium where, Georgia Stadium, and then they filled up Mercedes-Benz. And I hear that the atmosphere there is incredible.
Right.
And then I heard about what was going on in Charlotte, and I was like, wait a minute. I thought North Carolina FC was going to get that bid, because I know I got to know the owner and president of that team, and I really thought that they had things going. And out of nowhere, here comes Charlotte at the last minute, and they happen to go from there to like one of the destinations to go to an MLS. And I can tell you that for a fact, because I was out there in the summer to watch the U.S. play Trinidad, and I really had a good time before hanging out with some of the locals. I'm hoping to go there again this spring to watch Galaxy play them in May, and I'm friends with the guys in the Charlotte FC Fan TV pod, and they're like, man, you got to come down, have a good time, have some Carolina barbecue. My wife's from North Carolina, so I completely know what to expect.
Yeah.
And then we have the guys in St. Louis, which is interesting because we're bringing it, circling back to you guys, right? Now you guys have been around, and I mean you guys, I mean Kansas City has been around since the beginning, right? A legacy club. And I remember at the beginning, yes, I would watch games where Galaxy would play Arrowhead, and you see the smattering of Kansas City fans, and you're like, huh, I wonder, what the atmosphere is like at that cavernous stadium, right?
Right.
And for a while there, it looked like they were gonna slowly fade out, like Miami Fusion did, and like Chivas USA, and like Tampa Bay Mutiny, because you guys were playing in a baseball stadium,
right?
And then what ended up happening afterwards, which I've always called the greatest reclamation project in MLS history, is going from there, like you said, to going into this beautiful little stadium, which interestingly enough was the blueprint for LAFC Stadium, from what I heard.
Right.
They looked at that as an inspiration, and they decided to build a stadium kind of to, be as an inspiration. And it was an inspiration for a lot of MLS stadiums. And for a while there, I was like, wow, they're doing things really good in Kansas City.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely correct. I've noticed that for a while there, Kansas City's kind of fallen off a bit. I don't know if it has to do with what the club's been doing, but here comes St. Louis, right? And St. Louis historically has been known as one of the, the cradles of U.S. soccer. Mm-hmm. And so they've always had some kind of history with the sport. And what they did last year, not just, as a club on the field, but off the field, the fans and everything, it's amazing. We spoke to Matt Baker, from Flyover Footy podcast. He covers St. Louis, and he was explaining to us like all the stuff that goes into game day preparation and what the fans do and how all the supporters have come together. And I feel like, yes, that's amazing. But you're standing on the shoulders of giants, because all these other people paved the way for you guys to get there. But at the same time, much credit to what you guys have done. Yeah. And I really hope that the legacy clubs, I'm talking like Kansas City, Chicago, Colorado, all these guys eventually like look at this and say like, hey, you know what? We were here at the beginning. We feel like we got left behind. It's time to up our game. Yeah. But it all comes down to a cultural thing too, right? And I live in Kansas, so I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's a lot of college football.
Yeah.
And a lot of college basketball, especially in your area.
Right.
So it's real hard to like break through unless it's something momentous like the World Cup.
Exactly.
So there's a couple more questions. Kind of upset, honestly, because Kevin Cho comes in and he's like way more popular than we are. We got like no questions. It's 11 a.m. local time.
Come on. Yeah,
and he's getting more questions than we do on primetime Sundays.
Yeah, I paid people to get that. Those are all paid my ultras. Thank you for joining.
Maybe not, because this next question actually comes from CLTFC Fan TV.
Hell yeah, Charlotte guys. What's up, guys?
Oh.
Yeah.
He wants to know, what is your prediction for tomorrow's game?
What's tomorrow's game?
He said tomorrow. You guys apparently you guys have a friendly against Charlotte.
Get the fuck out of here. I don't fucking care about this. Come on, dude. This is like Uruguay telling me, we have 4 World Cups. Like, dude, I don't care. It's like always things. I think the best part about these friendlies is it's closed door. Bro, keep it closed. So I saw people making tweets about like preseason games, and they're like, man, look where this player's going, because they're showing a 30-second clip of a goal, and they're like, unbelievable. Like, why is this player not standing over here? He should be. Dude, do you guys know what these cats are doing right now? These guys are goofing off. All right, they're just now getting going. I don't know what's going on in preseason, but look, here's my prediction for the Charlotte people. It's gonna be a 3-2 game. Hat trick Johnny Russell. There you go. You're welcome. And if it's not that, I don't know ball.
Speaking of Johnny Russell, there was such a big
He lied to my face.
advocation that we wanted him here.
I wanted.
There was a moment where he wanted out of KC, and we're like, man, if we could land this, man, we'd be a premier team. And you fuckers kept him. We wanted him here.
I'm not gonna lie. If Johnny Russell's not on your team, you don't like. He's just like
he's really good.
He's good, really but he's just like in your face. He like the referees are jokingly have just almost like a fear of this man. This guy gets in your face, but he's my favorite player by far. It's been like when I started watching the league, it was like Zusi, which is insane that he's just now left the club. But so I started watching, and Zusi was my guy. I love Zusi. And then when Johnny came, oh my God, like fell in love. Because that is the type of person that reminds me of like South American football, where it's just, or even, players in Mexico and like guys who are just passionate and like in your face, always wanting to fight for every ball. That was like super like attractive to me. It would have broke my heart if you went to LA, man. That would have killed me.
Fun fact about
Eddie had a moment with him.
I did.
No.
Yeah,
You did.
he had a frustrating like half. I think we were beating him at halftime or something, whatever. And I was in the Champions Lounge, and like he was on the bench. That's what it was. That's the day he fucking broke Cáceres' knee. Yeah, that game.
That game.
Yeah, that's probably why he didn't follow through. At halftime, I shook his hand as he was going through the tunnel, and my good friend Aaron, we told him to come. Hey man, come to LA. We'll start you here. Something along those lines. I looked at us and he smiled, and I was like, "That's it. He's coming."
Hell yeah! He said, "We got him. Boy.
Yeah.
He's coming."
Johnny Russell to the G's confirmed.
Coons, eat your heart out. Hey, but fun fact about Susie, I don't know if you know this, and everybody else knows this, that he was actually gonna be on The Bachelor, or he was gonna be The Bachelor. Yeah, did you know that? Did you guys know that?
I heard that. Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah.
And, I mean, dude, and you know what? He's perfect, or he would have been perfect. This guy, that guy is a god. That man,
Saint Susie.
San Susi.
He is a good. He is a guy in Mexico. San Susi.
Right, yeah. San Susi. Yeah.
We do have another question in the chat from Big Capo, my tribal chief, Samoa Bob. What's the vibes with the support groups currently in Kansas City? I know a lot of people were upset about the Caldron not making a statement early.
The Cauldron.
Yeah, listen. Yeah, you put too much accent on that because let me tell you about that. The Cauldron. All right, boys. So I don't look. This is because I'm learning as much as I can in the last couple years about how supporter groups work here. So if I step on anyone's toes, I'm sorry, but the supporter groups are, in my mind, is like the sporting. It's like this vanilla sporting group of people. I'm so glad that they take the time and do what they do from time to time and whatnot. But here's the thing: when there's anything going on with the club, and especially anything negative, these people are the worst to go to. So just point blank. These guys don't say anything, or they just make it look like things are being done behind the scenes. Their biggest thing with this Gavin situation was we're going to have a Q&A and talk to fans about the situation. What is a Q&A going to do? I have no idea. And then I've talked to friends that have been in the Cauldron or or actually left the cauldron recently, and they're just like, I don't know if it's just not enough people are trying to help, or if they're just slim, or whatever the situation is. But it is super embarrassing on the side of like, is this supposed to be a passionate group? These people care about it. I mean, one of the biggest things about when I brought my this is gonna be a weird thing to bring up, but like, I have a brother. He's my half brother. His dad, not my dad, is from Argentina. He came to the United States and he went to a sporting game. I vividly remember sitting in the game and hearing what chant, like this "Come on Sporting" chant go off, and I remember like being so embarrassed because it just sounds awful. It sounds like an 8-year-old came up with this song, and this guy is used to like songs and a stadium full of 80,000 people where they come up with a song every week. You guys get the vibes, and I think from then on, and I was like 13, 14. From then on, I'm just like, this is not good.
Horrible.
This is and it's this. The song still happens. So and last time I went, it came up again. I remember looking at my wife, who my wife doesn't even give a crap about football at all, which has been great. That she's like slowly learning and like picking things up. In that day, I just said nothing about it, and she was like, "What are they singing?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, I don't know how to explain this to you. Even like it's bad." So I think it's like the best word is just it's sorry. It's not very good, but it's hard to say that and just not try to be nice to those people, because there are people that are spending their time outside of work, making banners or whatever. But I don't know if it's just leadership or what. It's not good. It's not good at all. Not compared to so many other supporter groups. And I still think because we're such a new league, we're already still behind. We're not like ultras. I don't see anyone being real ultras. All right, no offense, but we're not there yet. And we don't need them. I don't know. Just depends.
Well, I mean, I don't think we need them, but
yeah,
there's a lot of people that self-proclaim themselves ultras,
right.
which, I mean,
exactly, yeah.
if it kind of can grow the culture without the ultra violence,
then
we'll be all right.
People kill each other.
Guys, take it easy.
Without the violence?
2024, you can identify as whatever you want.
That's right. That's right. We are all ultras here.
That is true. Well, let me ask you. You became a Kansas City fan throughout the years. You kept watching them. How did the Kevincho show start? What made you want to do it, and what is your channel about?
Yeah, so like in the last 9 years, I've been working in some way in video editing. So usually I started doing like freelance editing way back in high school. Like I was really interested to work in the film industry, which got me into trying to just make YouTube videos just to learn how to edit, how to hold a camera and film and use audio and all that stuff. And then I started making videos for like buddies who are like up and coming artists, SoundCloud rappers, and making music videos. It was great because it was just teaching me how to do it. And then I started a whole separate channel where it was just me going in depth about random topics that I cared about. And since I was little, since I've been in the US, I've always had this feeling that the development, especially with youth soccer, was horrible, because I went through clubs where a single parent was trying to pay, like, drop $1,200 a month for these like top-notch clubs in Kansas. You know what I mean? And then I have a younger brother. I had to give it up and be like, my mom's not going to be able to drop $2,400 or $2,800 on this.
God damn, what the fuck?
So I got a very bad taste about US. I mean, I went in high school where I would play high schools, and I would see like the difference in players, because you have these rich kids that are legitimately had personal trainers, gyms. I mean, they were like gods, and you could see this crazy imbalance. And I had a friend. Okay, and this is gonna. I'm not to put him on blast. I won't say his last name. His name is Misael. He's this really skinny Mexican kid. Was unbelievable. Okay, lights out. One of the fastest athletes I've ever seen with a football to his foot. It was so good. And this kid never got any chances. Like I was begging people to, like, clubs to pay for this kid to be in their clubs, and they were like, "That's not how it works here." So I had this horrible taste about U.S. soccer for forever. While I was watching MLS and all this stuff, and I always thought of it as two different things. Like, the youth development here is just awful, and then MLS is like this corporate-y little league, and that's all we got, so I got to deal with it. So one day I just decided I wanted to make a video about MLS. Fine. And I talked about things that bothered me, and honestly, like 3-4 years ago, whenever I made that video, things have changed a lot within that time. So that's good in a positive way. So that's great. But in that time, I needed B-roll. So like, because I'm used to watching the league in Argentina, I started picking up watching leagues in Europe. There's always fan accounts where I could pull up, B-roll of just fans, not the games, and just see the reaction so I can talk over it and explain things, whatever. Well, I was asking all my sporting friends, like, hey, who does watch-alongs for Kansas City? I just need, B-roll for this video. And they were like, we don't have any. And I, like right there, I was like, aren't we one of the OGs? We don't have any moron screaming at a TV. I mean, it takes no skill at all to do that. And they were like, no. And especially one of my friend was like, why don't you just do it? And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I put that in like behind my mind. Copa America was coming up. And in my mind, 2021 Copa America, I was like, this is Messi's last chance for a trophy. It would be kind of fun to do like a watch along and maybe follow this whole, tournament and see how that goes. That was insane because obviously we won it, and I got to talk to people all over the world. I was talking to people in Germany watching these games. It was amazing. So then I was like, you know what? Let me see if MLS would be kind of, or if even fans would care about this. So I started streaming. I think it was like a Columbus game. It was like 0-0. There was like a straight up zero. It was like one shot on target. There was a rain delay. It was horrible. It was like the worst thing ever. But the greatest part was there were people in the chat from all different cities in the US. I don't know if people were just bored at the time. And obviously, pre-Apple days, nobody could watch the damn games. It was so annoying with blackouts or whatever. So people were just like, I'll just hang out with this guy. And I was talking to fans. One of the very first fans was a Galaxy fan. And we were just, kind of talking shit back and forth that year, just, having fun. And then I realized, like, oh, this is cool. Even though this team is not that good, it's going to be fun. So then I just kept going. And honestly, through my love for the team has gone different direction. But the thing is, I love doing the streams because I talk to so many different people. I get to learn about different clubs and different, like, just crazy backgrounds about people from all over the world and whatnot. And that's what I want to keep going. I went through some nightmares with sporting, honestly, and I thought, man, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this anymore. And like multiple times, I'm like, yeah, I'm done with MLS or whatever. But here's the thing, I just keep coming back just because of the people. Like, just people would reach out and talk to me and they'd be like, hey, did you see this story? It's freaking awesome. Read into this. And I'm like, man, it's like there's so many different avenues you can go in MLS, and we're so early that it's like perfect timing. So yeah, that's just where I'm at now. It's like a weird start to get here, but that's it.
Yeah, and the thing about MLS is such a niche market in the US, but once you find that market, there's a lot of passionate fans here in MLS that will swear up and down this is a top 5 league in the world, and I'm one of them. I don't give a fuck about the rankings. This is top 5 to me, and I love watching those 0-0 one shot on target matches where all those Reds come out or the defense can't even kick a ball outside. I went through early 90s MLS where we saw like just somebody coming out of work and then putting on the boots and let's go play type thing. And to see it from then to where it is now, such a growing sport here. It's great to see channels like yours. Like the other ones, we've talked to the guys from St. Louis. We've talked to, around the league, just seeing the passion, how it has grown in the U.S. market. And it's as a Latino, an American who's grew up with this sport and watched nothing but the game of football, it's beautiful to see here. It's very beautiful to hear.
I'm on the same page as Brian. Watching someone walk off the set of Melrose Place. And
see,
and throw out the booth. Shout out to
Andrew Shue, baby, Andrew Shue. Let's go.
No ball, who brought up Andrew Shue. And same man. For me, the MLS in my mind is in the top 3. And I'll tell you right now, they're not. They're not number 2 or number 3. Yeah. You can figure that out. I got a couple more questions for you. Oh, actually,
but before that,
go ahead.
We have a super chat. I don't know if you knew we were live, but shout out to Alex Gutierrez Guti. He gave us $9.99. Love you guys.
$6.99.
Oh, 6.
Oh, no,
What
it's
the
not.
Wait,
heck?
wait a minute,
Hey,
wait a
where's
minute.
the
That's on me, my bad.
$3?
No, it is $9.99.
No, no.
Oh, it is.
my
Oh,
bad.
okay, never mind. Yeah, good
Damn,
job.
I
Good job.
do need
Guti.
glasses.
We love you too, Guti. I'm
We love you,
RKO
Guti.
you the next time I see you.
So this is for everybody. Jose Ramos, what do y'all think of MLS next?
That's a very tough question, especially how the world football atmosphere deals with their development status of their teams. The cantera around the world is way more advanced than it is here. Now,
Right.
Yeah.
I feel MLS in general is trying to get something going in that category, whether it comes to MLS Next or having a draft with college players. They're trying, or with the developmental fucking teams that we have, well, here in Galaxy with like the G2s and all, they're trying to do something similar. Still needs a lot of work, in my opinion. Edgar?
I'll take a first stab
Actually,
at
if I
that.
may, real quick, just so I can
Go ahead.
get out of the way. Short and sweet. So, America in any sport will never accept pro and regulation. This is the best we can do.
Yeah,
I think the MLS.
I think so too.
I think soccer needs it. And I think the MLS is finding their own version of it.
It's called soccer. Man.
For fuck's sake, stop saying soccer. All right.
Good, Edgar.
Yeah, I'll take the first stab at it, and I think it's a step backwards because I feel like MLS was paying attention to what was going on in the lower divisions with USL, and they were like, you know what, these guys are going in the markets that we're not going into, and they're becoming pretty successful. They're looking. I'm talking like Detroit City FC, for example. Even though those people, their fans outwardly reject MLS, right?
Right.
I mean, and kudos to them, right? Because
Yeah.
that's their vibe.
Anti-establishment,
But in other
baby.
cities like Louisville, for example, and these are places where you're like, wow, I expect football, soccer to exist, but my God, they have very passionate fan bases, and they've grown in these areas where you would not expect MLS to ever go, and they're very successful. So MLS is looking at what USL is doing, and they're like, hey, wait a minute, we're the lords and of this country as far as soccer is concerned. And we don't like what they're doing. And then there's, all the rumblings about pro and relegation. And granted, it's going to be very difficult for that to ever happen here in the U.S.
Right. Yeah. No.
But MLS was like, you know what? We're gonna stop sending our kids down to the developmental league, and using the USL as a developmental league. We're gonna have our own thing. We're gonna have our own closed, environment, and we're gonna make it our own, and that's it. Period. We're gonna, take USL out of the equation, and then what happens after that? The whole thing with the U.S. Open Cup. That is jacked up, man.
Oof,
I mean, when I saw it, I was really upset. I was like, you're gonna take away, like, first of all, you're gonna take away, you're having your players playing against grown men, right, that have the best experience I guess you can get before you get to the MLS level, right? And then you're gonna go ahead and be like, we're gonna take even the opportunity where we have these young kids playing against these other bigger teams in the Open Cup, and we're gonna take that away as well, which is, to me, it's like one of the richest tournaments in U.S. sports because it goes back so long, from the very first champions, the Brooklyn Field Club, to all those great Bethlehem Steel teams, and now we have a lot of MLS teams and that compete in it, and we're always waiting for the next Rochester Raging Rhinos to come up and beat an MLS team in this tournament. Yeah. It's fun, right? And they're trying to take that away, and hopefully it does not go away. But yeah, I definitely, I know MLS Next Pro, I know it has like its uses, I know why it's important, but to me, if you're gonna grow these players, have them play against grown men, have them take hard tackles, have them go against guys that will be elbowing them in the ribs, and that way they get used to what it's like when you come up into a big level, because otherwise it's gonna be a big jump from one thing to another.
Yes, not gonna be ready. No, and especially like I think it's such a weird thing because like other leagues, it's so weird to have two leagues in the same country just fight with each other. It just seems like you got USL, MLS, and it's in every other league. It's you have the stepping stones as you move up, and sure, like some people are just normally in the second division, and that's where they fight for or whatever. And like you said, I don't think that we're gonna have promotion relegation. It's definitely not anytime soon. So what do we do in the meantime? It's just like the USL. It really does feel like if someone asked me, okay, what's your thoughts on USL? It's like this is a whole other world. Like that feels like the true American second division. That feels like if we could merge these two, it'd be so sick. These teams would go up. The problem is no one's gonna want their clubs to be able to go down. Obviously, that's the problem. And MLS, because they want obviously to save their butts and make sure that everything's going good for them money wise, they're definitely gonna come up with something. That's where we get the next to like battle out that other league that they are not too big fans of or whatnot. I don't really understand. Like I need to like really look into how the players get developed there, and like if we could compare that. I really don't know how I could do that, but it would be interesting to see the development and just kind of compare players going up these systems and then going, I don't know, maybe to a team in Europe or like a second division or whatever, just to see how they go. But I don't know. It's a weird thing to have next. And when I was getting, someone told me that they would love to talk to me about it and explain it to me, and it's just like, I'm already like trying to figure out so many MLS weird goofiness that I can't even open my brain up to next right now. So that's where I'm at personally with next right now, or even USL, to be honest.
But the thing with that is that we're so far behind in the developmental, whatever.
Developmental, yeah.
That stage, we are very far behind in the aspect that, how you said, the fact that we have to pay to play in this country has been a very big issue. If you go, let's say, to Brazil in the favelas, you see a player, he's balling out without shoes, all barefoot, you bring him into your academy. You support his whole career, and then you see him develop into Ronaldinho or whoever it is. We don't have that, and we're so far removed from that. The U.S. needs to get their shit together with MLS and USL, whatever it is, in order for you to develop players to win World Cups. Imagine that, winning the World Cup.
Come on.
And we are so far behind. And the thing is that makes me mad, because I'm a USMT fan, as also La Selecta.
Yeah.
What makes me mad about that is that this country is so enamored with being the best in everything. You see them in the Olympics, they win everything. How are you falling so far behind in a sport that is the most popular sport in the world, and you're falling behind on that? Is it cockiness, or is it just your arrogance? It both go in the same box. So let's do something with that.
Real quick before we go into that, I just want to address that real quick, because I was reading a book about how the 1990 U.S. soccer team was put together, because nobody expected the U.S. to go to World Cup 90. And at that point, U.S. soccer was run pretty much by like 3 or 4 people and like a fish in a little bowl there, right? And when all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, we're going to the World Cup. Oh my God, we're going to the World Cup. What do we do? What do we do? Nobody knew what the hell to do. So they started bringing in all these people that, that had experience, and they took, that from a dog and pony show into something much greater.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that were there had no idea of all the changes that were coming. So, but then there was always they got to a point though where there was a little bit of pushback, and I think it still exists to this day, where, okay, this is US soccer. How much do we want to retain the Americanness of it? Where, if we do bring in too many people from outside, from especially, from foreign countries that have been doing it for a long time, and they want to help, but at what point does it stop being US soccer and it becomes something else that was, made in another country and, imported here?
Right.
Are we still US soccer? Are we still American? So there's like a pushback where like we want to still have our stamp on it. And I feel like a lot of times US soccer is very stubborn to accept change or to take that next evolutionary step, and to stop just hindering the growth of the sport. I mean, look at who's running the team. I mean, we're going to get into that in a bit, but look who's running the team. Oh my God, you had the greatest generation of footballers in this country, and you have this clown running the team.
Right.
Anyway, go on.
Ugh, don't remind me of Berhalter, bro. That is we'll get into this next topic, which is a very touchy subject for you, Senor Kevin Cho.
Uh-huh.
You're Gavin Wilkinson, aka Milk Boy.
Right.
You had a rant about that.
Sure.
You want me to explain
Yes.
what's going on?
Go ahead, Edgar.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, we'll give you the stand right now, Kevin. But before we get there, a lot of people probably don't know who Gavin Wilkinson is, and so I'm gonna tell you straight up what I found, on him, because my God, for me to sit here and try to explain it to you, my head is gonna explode. So I'm just gonna have to read it. All right. So here we go. Gavin Wilkinson was the general manager of the Portland Thorns of the National Women's Soccer League from the very beginning in 2013. As a result of a 2021 fallout of the scandals surrounding allegations that Paul Riley had sexually assaulted and harassed Thorns players during his tenure as a club's coach from 2014 to 2015, Wilkinson, who was responsible for Riley's hire and the eventual non-retainment of Riley's services following the 2015 season, was put on administrative leave from the Thorns and eventually replaced by Karina LeBlanc. An independent investigation into abuse in the NWSL, commissioned by U.S. Soccer and led by Sally Yates, revealed how Wilkinson encouraged other clubs to hire Riley after his departure from the Thorns. According to the report, Wilkinson, quote, told the Western New York Flash that Riley was put in a bad position by the player and that Wilkinson would hire Riley in a heartbeat. Wilkinson also acted to hide the abuse from the media by telling reporters that Riley was let go because the team failed to make the playoffs. Medical staff of the club also reported that Wilkinson was made aware that Riley had interfered with their treatment and was endangering players. Wilkinson and the Portland Timbers front office have faced further accusations of misconduct in the face of abuse reports in February 2022 when MLS suspended Timbers player Andy Polo, pending an investigation into allegations of domestic violence made by Polo's ex-partner. A lot of Galaxy fans might remember Andy Polo as the guy who received that crunching tackle that ended his season, courtesy of Derek Williams. At the time, everybody was angry, but afterwards, people were like, hey, you know what? Maybe he knew something. Hey. Anyway, police reports later indicated that Timbers employees were present when the police arrived to investigate the initial call in May of 2021, and that months before the Athletics report on Paul Riley was published. But the team failed to report the incident to the league for 9 months. Polo's ex-partner detailed the event on a Peruvian television show and claimed she had been pressured into not filing charges against Polo. An MLS investigation in March 2022 claimed that the Timbers did not pressure Polo's ex-partner, nor intentionally conceal the incident of their involvement. Wilkinson claimed that Diego Valeri opposed the decision to cut Polo, which Valeri denied as he was no longer with the Timbers at the time of Polo's release from the team. After a October 22 report commissioned by U.S. Soccer was released, Timbers and Thorns owner scumbag Merritt Paulson announced that Wilkinson and team president Mike Golub and Paulson himself would thereafter recuse themselves from all Thorns decisions, and that the respective futures with regards to the Timbers were not included in the statement. Earlier that day, the Timbers Army and the Rose City Riveters formally demanded the removal of Wilkinson and Golub and for Paulson to sell the teams. On October 5th, Wilkinson and Golub were fired from the club, and a report in The Athletic stated that Wilkinson was set to receive a contract extension with a clause which allowed the club to terminate for cause. All this guy is he's an upstanding citizen of the highest caliber, a wonderful human being, somebody you want to have around your daughters. And well, Kevin, what ended up happening with this guy?
And just to premise it, you had a rant. Could you do a short version of that? Because it was a half-hour rant, which I enjoyed.
Thank you. Like, here's the thing. Like, yeah. So I mentioned this before we went live, but I already knew some things about this guy, and especially like now that I'm trying to get more and more into NWSL, I heard a lot more things what he did over there, and it's just bad news. Sporting then just randomly one day, just made this sneaky little snake announcement with no picture and no name, posted everywhere and said new staff, or basically like said new staff member or something very basic like that. And somehow they did not think that people would click the story or this will go. I don't know what the deal was, but yeah, we found out, sporting fans found out officially that they hired this guy. And my first thought was, there's no shot that this club gives a shit about what fans think. There's no shot because here's the thing. In the statement, it said that he would be directly reporting to Peter. What has been the absolute nightmare with this club? Peter is a coach. He's the damn he runs everything that has to do with anything player related. He is the like straight dictator of sporting. He's the face of the club. He's everything sporting. Okay. Now we have another guy that has to report to him. And on top of that, it's a straight demon man. This dude was the most unnecessary hire of all time in our club history. It made no sense that we needed this dude. And people at first, I'm sure there was some demons out there that are just saying, oh, well, he has a track record. He brought in, Valeri in the league, and he brought in other players in Portland and whatnot. And like, cool, I could care less. I could have the same morons like we've had in the last 20 years, or 10 years, without having this dude bringing anyone in, because this guy has a track record. This guy also, like, once this was released, they had a press conference because, of course, you're gonna have to talk about this. They were sneaky about the press conference. It was a closed press conference. They had a couple of media people who I talked to and were like, kind of wild that they didn't make this available on Zoom, right? Out of all the meetings, they didn't. This is the one we could not pull it up on Zoom. Great. While they were there, this freak straight up said, look, I made mistakes, but this is 2 years ago. It's not 10 years ago, 15 years ago. This was 2 years ago this guy got fired. And he goes, I made some mistakes. I made some lapses in my judgment, but I'm looking forward to move on and blah, blah, blah. It was shocking. I mean, the guys that were in the media room, who I know all of them were just like, what is going on? And then the great thing about this is everyone, no matter if you're a sporting friend for a week or you've been here since, day one, everyone was commenting on all the posts. Everyone was saying that this was a bad change. Well, I'll say well, hold on, I'll get back to this part, but most people were saying that. Most people being very vocal, people, not content creators. I'm talking about the everyday fan was commenting, get him out of my club, hashtag whatever it was, which was great to see. That like refreshed my feeling of like, oh my God, like, no, fans care. Because in any other, if no one cared, it would be like, yeah, this is controversial. Let's forget about it in 2 days, which I guarantee the demons at Sporting Kansas City was expecting. They knew what happened with this guy. They know everything about this bro. Okay. So they know that some people are going to be pissed, but they thought, it's not going to be that bad. Then, okay, fast forward to, I think he was only at the club for 8 days in totality. It was every comment or every post was being blasted. And some people were commenting at the admins, which I don't agree with. I mean, they were just being vile, like horrible, but they had to because they were so upset. What really bothered me was after all these like BS crap that I had to deal with Sporting, like on a personal term, I was like, you know what? I'd maybe be a big boy, Kevin, and just move on. Let's start this season fresh. Let's just get into it for the fans. Let's have fun. And then they drop something like this that is so pointless that they just brought this guy in. They also interviewed multiple other people that were perfect for the job. I mean, it's like a useless job in my. It's like whatever, fine. It's like a glorified scout almost. And then they hired this guy. For what reason? I know why. We all know why in sporting world. Peter Vermees likes his buddies. And this dude is a Peter Vermees hire. To the fact that we know that when I'm talking to like people like journalists around the club or people that follow the club and they have their podcast or whatever, and they have all the connections inside the club. It's not a big club, very small room full of people. They know that Peter wanted this guy. Okay. Of course, that someone still had to sign his payroll. So he's got a boss, of course, who thought it was fine, if Peter says so, because that is the chokehold this team has from a coach. This coach has been the coach for forever. Like this is the longest tenured coach in the league. He's won some things with the team. Absolutely. Yes, he's the best coach in our history. But because he can run everything and he has say in everything, it's like, you can't do anything. You can't even be upset. I talked about before he was announced that he got fired or whatever, let go or mutually agreed to part ways, whatever the fuck they said.
He left.
He packed up his stuff and left. Sporting was the people around Sporting were like, listen, he's gonna bring us trophies. Like he's gonna give us. Okay, fine. what bothers 99.9% of fans is everybody has a sister or a mom or maybe a daughter or a niece. And that is, to me, what bothered me, why I went a little crazy that day was it's so hard to support a team when you know there's a demon upstairs on the other side of that in the stadium, when you know that, like, yeah, I paid a ticket so my niece can watch her first soccer game in this country, and it's going to be this great memory for her. But in the back of my head, I'm like, but this guy is a demon. He turned his head, allegedly, I guess, to horrific crimes, and he was just like, no big deal. I would hire this guy again.
Yeah.
Like, come on. It was so distasteful. The club handled it horribly, firing him in the first place. Then 8 days later, 8 days through this whole thing, he gets let go. They make a statement, which is a sorry ass state. This is when you could have said, all right, guys, you guys are legends. Thank you for your passion. We made a wrong decision and he is gone. Thank you for your support, blah, blah, blah. That's not what they did. Okay. What Sporting Kansas City did, okay, was the most Sporting Kansas City thing, where they go in a statement, again, didn't show his name or his face publicly on the freaking post. You had to click the article to learn. It also said staff update. I mean, it's these guys they're so demonic. I could not believe this. That I work in this industry, by the way, and I have buddies that were like, what they're doing. I'm like, yes, it's not a secret. But these guys made an announcement that said, hey, we hired this guy. We've seen the backlash. In the middle of this little report here, it says that they followed all of the standards that Sporting follows for, like, to find the best fit for the club, which is mind blowing. Yes, are you joking? Yeah, what standards, bro? We look at people that are really, the most vile humans to get in here, just to listen to Peter. And in the first, I think, announcement, it said he was directly working for Peter, right? Now this is coming out. They leave that little quote there. Oh, we looked into it. And then they go, but we saw the backlash, and we, basically saying that they want to keep the fans happy, and he's no longer with the club. That's it. Boom, move on. And then post the next goofy little, post that they have to do every day. The way it was handled was horrible. The way he got hired was disgusting. And now I'm at the point where I met Peter Vermees. He was so nice to me. He was like, he listened to me. He had a little conversation. He went back and forth. And I like him as a coach. He's like, no nonsense. He's not your coach, you hate him. But when he is your coach, you like a dude that's stern in the face of a ref when there's a bad call or whatever, and defends his players. But because he's also in charge of all the operations, it's all his go. So if we hired somebody to take over other operations and he's just the coach, it doesn't matter. He's still the guy. That person that they hire will still want to go to Peter because he is the face. He is the brains. He's always going to be the MLS Cup champion as a coach and 2-time US Open Cup champion as a coach, always for Sporting, and that's where I'm at this point with Sporting, where I'm just like, look, I love the players and the fans and the people that I deal with or whatever, but the front office seems so clueless because they were basically saying this wasn't us. And Peter is in such a spot where he's so comfortable and such a, like, almost like a dictator role that it's like going to be impossible to, like, divide the two. Like, it's cheer for the team and then hate the other half, type of deal. That's where it was for me. And I was so glad that I wasn't alone. So many other people were so vocal. People went on freaking news and just went absolutely ham. There was a women's supporter group in Kansas City that did say something, and they were quote tweeting every day, hashtags. They were going after them. Then there was another supporter group that had a planned Q&A with fans. That is Sporting Kansas City. That is exactly what feels like useless club is doing in the horrible situations. It's like they don't have PR. They don't have a PR team is what it feels like. They did not think for a second that this could be a bad look. Not even for a second. It's unreal. And I felt bad for the workers there, the grounds crew, the people who work that are literally having a dream job to work for a club. They love their job, but then they're just seeing this bashing and they're upset. A couple of them reached out to me and said, obviously I can't say anything. Please don't share this. But thank you for saying what you're saying, or all these people, they support what all these other people are saying as well. But they're stuck because obviously you don't want to get fired. You're just screwed. And I'm sure the players are probably like that too.
Yeah, and this is where my next question was gonna go with. Just the effect of fans and people who are not inside those front offices being able to voice their opinions and actually make some type of change, right?
Yeah.
It happened here in the LA Galaxy. It's happening with you guys over there in Kansas, and it's happening around the league. And I think it's a very important topic to touch on because we are the ones that go pay and watch these type of teams, right?
Yes.
And the minimal that you could do is be straight up with us. Hey, we fucked up. We didn't really look into the background of this guy. We just seen that he had a cup over there and had a couple, whatever it was, right?
Right.
We fucked up. Sorry. I think the fan base would respond better to those type of messages instead of trying to PR us into thinking that we're the ones that are crazy.
Yes.
And being, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And it's very upsetting to see that, especially around all the league, and especially in the league who, well, we touched on this earlier, that it's growing. You need to be transparent with your fans because we are the driving force of this league. If you have no fans in the stands, you don't have a fucking league.
Exactly. And some people, there's always going to be freaks on any topic, political, not political. There were people that were like, you guys know that you guys didn't say anything. It was sponsors were probably getting upset. Why were the sponsors getting upset? Because every person, I mean, they were looking at all these tweets and all these comments and all these people being upset. And you got your goddamn name on their chest, and people are going to be like, I don't mess with that company anymore, or whatever. It's just the most obvious thing. If the supporter or the support, it's not supporter groups, is a different thing. But when the fans are speaking out, it's so awesome to see what happened in LA, what's happening in sporting, what's happening in other places, because that just shows you, dude, it's there. We're not like that vanilla where fans are just like chalking it up. It was so cool to see fans just go, and not just sport. I mean, every fan base. It was awesome. Like every fan base. Our sport, or see, what are they? St. Louis. Where the fuck are our rivals?
Don't you dare disrespect them.
Yeah, they were like, look, straight up, they were just like, hate these people, but love what the fans are doing. I'm supporting the fans. This is disgusting. And it wasn't like they're just bashing the club. They were straight up going, no, get this guy out. This is embarrassing for the league. It's horrible for families and all that. And the victims, like, no one cares. Like, these people just went through hell. And now we're like, yeah, let's hire him up. 2 years later, Dog is in the same position. He's not even like a janitor. Brother got the exact same position. And like, nothing happened. What the, like, yeah, I don't know. So I'm so happy, like, going into the season now, I'm like hyped, like, all right, he's gone. But the side eye I have for Peter and the side eye I have for the freaking front office will not go away. The way it was handled, the way they did it, at least that's why that day I announced that I'm not going to do any watch alongs because I could not do it. I had a game where I wanted to take my niece to an actual game. And then I'm like, forget that. She's going to go to an NWSL game. Yeah. Boom. She's going to love it. And I'm done with the club. I'll talk about them from time to time. I was ready to stream LA games, whatever, just to hang out, put in polls. I didn't care anymore.
Yeah, and of course, the thing is, next day, with that, as fans around MLS, here's the fact: the way you hurt the people that are in charge is in their pockets.
Yeah,
don't show up to games if you're really displeased with what's going on in the front office, whether it's political or whatever it is, and you're not happy, and you feel that this is an embarrassment to your club. Hit him in the pockets.
Yeah.
Edgar, I know you've been holding your tongue this whole time.
Yeah. No, it was refreshing to me to see how the whole client out thing started and how it ended up, making the team better in the long run. But let's go back 1 year ago, right? And the client out stuff had started, and there was a lot of chaos going on. People were like, "What the hell's going on?" Like, people didn't really follow the club or just show up to, on game day. We're like, why are these people protesting? Why are they so angry? Who is Chris Klein? And people looked him up, and he doesn't come off as like some demon Bilbao person, but when you start digging a little deeper and you start finding out, and you start listening to what the supporters were saying, you're like, oh yeah, this guy seems like he's not the greatest person. He doesn't have the best interest of the club in there. Is all he says. And mind you, he might actually be a nice guy.
Sure.
Away from football, right? But flash forward a few more months, Galaxy is doing really bad, really, really bad, and they still won a game. And I remember we were about to play Austin FC, and I had started this thing where I was trying to interview fans from other teams just to get a different perspective from them, before or after games. And I remember I ran into some really nice, awesome fans, and I asked one of them, and you can still see this on my Instagram page if you guys want to check it out. But I asked him, like, hey, let's talk about the game. Let's talk about your club, because I heard you guys were pretty upset with Josh Wolf because of this, and this. Awesome fans had been upset with their stuff, but it wasn't to the point of, sorry, we have a dog here. It wasn't to the point of LA Galaxy fans, but he did tell me something. He's like, people around the league.
Luna, hi baby.
Sorry, we have a delivery over here. She's really upset about Chris Klein. She still hates this guy. So sorry, we have a hound dog over here. That's how you know it's live.
Yeah, for sure. No,
so
we can't edit
calm
this
down,
out.
Luna. So anyway, the guy was like, we're paying very close attention to what's going on here in LA, because if you guys can make something happen, it can happen anywhere else in the league. Because he goes, we're upset over here and we want management to hear us, but it seems everything we're saying is falling on deaf ears. But if you guys can make something happen, and he's like, we support you guys, we support what the LA Galaxy fans are doing, then this is great for the league. Now, how bad were things here that even our fiercest rivals, which to me are our fiercest rivals, San Jose Earthquake fans, were showing up to the game and supporting the Klein Out movement. Right. And we were hearing from fans around the league, like, we're watching what's going on over there because we want to see how it's going to fall out, because, that will determine how other fans in the league will do with their protests as well.
Yeah.
And it ended up happening. And now we start hearing about, other fans around the league, they're trying really hard, because these people, like Brian said, you go to the game, you spend your hard-earned money to watch the game, and maybe they don't win, but at least you want to be entertained. At least you want to feel like, hey, I'm part of something that that's fun, that's great, that I can invest my time in. My kids can come and have a good time, and that's wholesome, right? At some level, because some people like it a little rougher. Yeah, but then you start hearing about what's going on in other clubs, like the Colorado fans. We just had Matt Pollard on. And at the end of their season, man, God, things were bad. Fans were protesting, fans were walking out, and look at them. They're doing their best to fix that club now. Yeah. But then you hear what's going on up in Chicago. I was just listening to our good friend of the show, Nick from Feed the Fire podcast, and he was talking about how things are so bad up there in Chicago that they're just, it's like they live in their own little bubble. And the saddest thing is that the fans of Chicago, they're not as vocal as they are anywhere else. So the club is doing like they're just doing whatever the heck they want. And the few fans that are vocal about it, it's like a drop in a bucket, and they don't really hear what's going on. And so he's watching his club pretty much fall apart and do nothing and slowly deteriorate. And this is where I feel that the rest of MLS, because I always see MLS fans as a family. I mean, you're going through an airport and you see another fan wearing an MLS kit, and you run across me like, hey, what's up?
As long as it's not LAFC, we're good.
And sometimes you have conversation. Well, if it's an LAFC fan, you're like, But you're noticing that the fans that do get it, and there are a lot, the fans that do get it, they see this as a family, and they want to take care of each other, and they want to make sure we're all doing well, so that this league keeps going and keeps getting better, and it's there for a very long time, for as long, for our lifetimes and our lifetimes of our kids. So that's what we saw. And now we're starting to see this I don't know if I'm gonna call it a trickle effect, because I know other teams have protested and nothing has happened. I know the Portland fans protested forever for Merritt Paulson to sell the team, and he's still there like a garrapata.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to leave. And so what's your take on this, Kevin? Because like you said, the fans over there were very vocal, but how do you think this is going to spread out across the league?
Hopefully it's a kind of a little scare tactic for the owners, or just clubs that need to know that if it's a bad look, they need to just stay away. I mean, this one was avoidable. You guys' situation was harder, I think, because it wasn't, this guy was there, already been there, and things were just going bad. So that's a hard situation. And I was even shocked that it ended how it ended. I thought, because no one's really in control. Like, are you guys, I mean, the fans, you guys could push it as far as you can. And sometimes you feel like the owners will just go as far as they can, as long as they're just not in like the full red, they just need that income. With Sporting, I really thought it was going to be done. I mean, I thought Speeder's been here forever. This guy's going to be here for like 3-4 years. They're not going to make any changes. So I am so happy it happened. And then now other supporters should use this and just copy it. I mean, sometimes not going to the game, people are going to go to some games. I think there's some casual fans in MLS that might not know things like this. Like, they don't have Twitter and Instagram, and they're just like going to the games like clueless, and then they're finding out when they get there something's up. So that might not last very long. But when you have every single post on social media getting bashed, journalists from all over the league talking about it, bashing them, down to now we have like this situation with like CBS Sports Golazo where they talk about world footy. They bring it up, and that brings it, that enters more eyes on the whole situation. When you guys had your problem, that was probably huge, that you had just so many people around the world watching and just going, what's happening in the US? Not a good look for the league, obviously, but then that's the thing. Then that puts pressure on MLS. They're like, hey, LA, figure it out. Like, do something, because now we're looking a little dumb in front of all these other leagues or these other fans. So yeah, I think it's great. It's so awesome. It makes me, and like you guys, I'm sure, feel like things can get done. We're not as like corporate. Well, we're pretty corporate, but we can scare them. I mean, just like strikes and unions, it works. It scares them.
Walkouts,
walkouts, right?
Yeah. And this is the thing too. With pressure, you create diamonds.
Yeah.
So this league could be a diamond at one point. Like Eddie said, this is the top league in the world, number one. I don't give a fuck what the rankings say, so I'll take that.
Premier who? What?
Who is that? There are little brothers. What do you mean?
Yeah, little.
Well, let's change a little bit more gears into just general MLS talk. Jesus Ferreira got denied by MLS a transfer to go abroad. It was a received 13 million bid for the U.S. forward from a Russian club, Spartak Moscow. Mm-hmm. For some reason, MLS denied it. We won't go into the political side of it because this isn't a political show, but it is an MLS show.
Yeah.
When you see that as an MLS fan and seeing how Jesus Ferreira is in U.S. national team international, what does that tell you? Eddie, I know you're raising your hand. Our producer.
I may go first.
Yes.
As an MLS fan and USMNT fan, 13 million for that limp? Jesus Christ. I'm done.
You leave him alone, bro.
Could have sold him, man. That was profit right there. Let's go.
You know what? Yeah, absolutely. Like, come on. Dallas is probably upset that they couldn't make that sell. Who the fuck is going to pay anywhere upwards of $5 million for that lame-ass player? Sorry. I don't like him, as you can tell.
But this is the thing. Dallas has a track record of them actually exporting players for profit. We've seen it with Pepe,
Academy, man.
Yep.
And their academy's just been, and it's one of the teams in MLS, and we touched this on the pod earlier about developmental. Dallas is doing it right. What does this tell you for MLS going forward when they could deny a $13 million bid for somebody who Eddie says doesn't deserve it? What does that mean for MLS to deny it, just in general?
Well, Kevin, before you answer that, I just want to give people a little perspective. I mean, we don't want another situation like what happened with Brittany Griner. And if you guys know the WNBA player who was arrested supposedly for possession of marijuana at an airport in Moscow, and I mean, what kind of a draconian system do they have there that they sent her practically to a gulag, right, for something like that, and then they didn't want to let her go, and I mean, it became an international incident, and yeah, I mean, maybe Jesus, isn't gonna go around walking around marijuana and in his pockets, but who knows what somebody out there is gonna make up some rule out of nowhere, And all of a sudden, Jesus is being sent to some gulag out in the Siberia, and we never hear from him again. And MLS doesn't have the same kind of weight that a WNBA, which is backed by the NBA, has. And with everything going on in the Caucasus region right now, and the way that, I mean, you can't avoid it, the politics, right, between the US and Russia, I tell people I don't even understand how it got to that point where they're like, hey, look, a Russian club, hey, let's go. Let's send them over there. One of our guys from our national team, let's send them a bargaining chip that they can hold up against us. No.
Yeah, I think that's the weirdest thing for me. Like, I thought I had two takes. Like, well, no, my take was like I was just confused. Honestly, the whole thing made no sense. Like, from the report, it said like Dallas was interested and Jesus was interested. I mean, maybe he's interested. That's money, and yeah, that's a big team in Russia. But yeah, of course, there's a situation that's going on over there. I wouldn't feel comfortable. I would be, that is a big decision. So, but what does it mean, like in the long run? Where, what if it's not that, and the league starts? Let's say he's going to Spain. Just for an example, and it's a second division team, and what if MLS stops that? But because maybe the price isn't right, or just whatever, if that makes me a little nervous of going like, ooh, if the player wants to go, the club wants to go, the MLS said stop, we might not even get our money in the first place, which may be one of the biggest reasons. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird thing. If it is true that the club Dallas wanted him to go and he wanted to go, I'm more confused than anything. Now, if this was like a general bid, Dallas, had the bid. This came out. There was interest there, and then the league goes, "Hey, that's not ever happening. Don't even think it." I don't know. That might be a different thing. But if it's a verified thing that FC Dallas said, Jesus, our boy, kind of like their star boy, in the sense of like, that's their face right now. You're gone. If you want it, let's go. And then let's say Jesus wanted it. I'm just so confused. But I don't follow the U.S. men's national team like almost at all. So I don't know if he's horrible or amazing or what his deal is. But in the future, if MLS is just blocking deals left and right, and it's not to do with like borderline war situations, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't feel very comfortable with that, but it's a weird one.
You would think that it's unfortunate for the player that wants to go outside of the MLS to progress his
choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The development, what is it?
But
Developmentals.
You got to think into account that Spartak Moscow, like a lot of Russian teams, they're not allowed to play in international competitions right now. So it's not like
they can't go to Champions.
Team.
Yeah,
they can't go to Champions League.
I was going to bring that up. I thought CSK Moscow was.
I thought so too.
Part of
until the sanction, like UEFA said, anymore. They're out.
Yeah, and
I mean, again, MLS #1 in the world. What do I care about?
Who cares?
We're not over there.
CONCACAF champions over UCL, baby, all day.
Exactly.
Actually, that's a good transition. Someone asked. They asked on a scale. They didn't say a scale from what to what, but how much priority? Oh, here it is. From Rambling Runoff. On what scale do you guys think MLS teams consider CONCACAF Champions League? Is it a priority or not?
I'll give you this one. As an LA Galaxy fan, it is. It's an international tournament where you could win and represent your region. If you want to be considered one of the top leagues in the world, you go represent your region and you do well in the CONCACAF Champions World Cup or whatever they have. For me, it should be maybe not priority over the our regional league, which is MLS Cup, but take it serious. For me, the CONCACAF should be represented with the best and show eyes into our region that we have, great football here. Maybe not the top unless it's MLS because it's #1. But, we want to showcase what we really have. And let's say the LA Galaxy wins the next CONCACAF champions. Dude, you're going to have a global brand representing a side of the world in a very not so prestigious, but a big tournament where all the champions of champions go play and show off their region as well.
Right.
So yes,
what.
take CONCACAF Champions serious. In my case,
I'll tell you what, because a lot of people find it hard to believe that. Because people remember the 2000 Galaxy team that won the CONCACAF Champions League, right? And at the time, that was pretty shocking. At least, to me, it was like, wow, holy shit, this happened. Yeah. But even before that, and like after the 96 season, which was the inaugural season, the team Galaxy went all the way to the final in the 97 tournament, and they were winning. They were controlling that game against Cruz Azul of Mexico until our center mid, Mauricio Cienfuegos, suffered a game-ending injury.
The GOAT.
And after that, the wheels completely fell off, and Cruz Azul came back and won the game 5-3. Galaxy was up 2-0 on point. They were up 3-1, and then they ended up losing 5-3.
I could prove my fandom right now too, because you can't find this in an article, and I don't think you can find a video either. That injury happened like it was bad luck, and Edgar might be the only one that has the memory here. It was a slip, and Hermosillo, which became a Galaxy player later, actually slipped, and like basically his plant, like to break his fall, went onto Cienfuegos' ribs.
Oof.
Yeah,
and that's how the injury happened.
Yeah, and if maybe if Cienfuegos, I mean, maybe no, definitely, if Cienfuegos would not have gotten injured, that would have been a Galaxy win. It would have been an incredible achievement for MLS that from the get-go they were winning major tournaments. Granted, not long after that, DC United actually won CONCACAF champions, and then went on to also win the Inter Confederations Cup at the time, beating Vasco da Gama from Brazil. And that was the last tournament that they had where it was CONCACAF versus CONMEBOL. And DC United still holds on to that trophy, by the way. It's still in their cabinet. It's funny because that that trophy is supposed to be passed around kind of like the Stanley Cup. Right. Since it was the last time that was played, it's still in their cabinet, which is, hey, a good thing for MLS, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, Galaxy went that far, and we got a taste of that, and I was like, man, that's awesome. And then 2000 comes around, and they play against Olimpia of Honduras in the final, and they win, and you're like, oh my God, they actually won. These guys won the Champions League before they won an Open Cup, before they won an MLS Cup, which at the time seemed pretty insurmountable. And you're like, whoa, this is amazing. And then after that, they won an Open Cup. And after that, they won their first MLS Cup, and it kicked off like an entire decade of Galaxy success. Went on for a while.
Greatness, sir. Of greatness.
The greatness. And that's when Galaxy took the first step to becoming one of the elite clubs in MLS. Because at that time, great atmosphere at the games. A lot of people show up. But what have you show me something? They hadn't won anything. I know that Sporting Kansas City has been in the Champions League before, because I remember them playing against Real Estelí of Nicaragua a few times. I'm Nicaraguense, and I remember watching those games intently. And so, Kevin, what's your take? Do you think, not just from a Kansas City perspective, but you think MLS sees this as a big priority? I do, but I'm from LA. I see it as the number one priority: win the league, and then, or whatever way you can get into there and win the the Champions Cup.
Yeah, I would assume it should be a big deal. I mean, the only thing I could compare it is like, I don't know, Libertadores, where some teams literally play their league games and they're like, I'm just trying to get into that one competition, and then that's where you ball out. I mean, I'm not gonna compare how many trophies River have, like league trophies, to Racing. I'm like, I don't give a crap. How many Libertadores do you have? Right, I know. But it's more like, what's the bigger trophy in South America? That is the trophy. Like, you kill for that trophy. And so I think it should be the same thing here. I don't think every club. I don't think every club looks at it that way, because I don't know why, but you would think you fought a whole season to get qualified for this. The next year, just like the Champions League, just like everything, you fight in it, but you're also dealing with a regular season. It seems like it felt like last year. It felt like some teams were like just there, and then they got home and they were like, all right, let's actually focus on trying to get into the playoffs or win this league or whatever. And it just felt like, from the fans' point of view, that some people just didn't care. That, I hope, does not happen. I need it to be a serious thing, and I'm still trying to learn about CONCACAF everything. So the Champions League seems interesting. Like, it seems like it's very heavily Liga MX and MLS, and then there's the other guys, is what it seems like. That they're trying to sneak in. You have like these Cinderella teams, it almost looks like. But I don't know. Like Sporting gets in it, it's like who cares? It's what it felt like. We won a game or we lose a game, who cares? Move on. Then there's other teams like Seattle that take it, that felt like they took it very seriously. LAFC, even, I mean, how many freaking finals did they lose the couple of years? But like they took it seriously. So I don't know. It seems like it depends on the fan base. I want it to be the tournament. That is the ultimate flex. Especially you're playing, if there's this big rivalry with Liga MX, then that's like a huge flex, bro. And if then, of course, here's the thing that I was like, I'm out with the Champions League and I hope it gets better, but I'm checked out mentally. Is every single year I see even my friends who only watch Liga MX, they're just kind of like, I don't care about that, bro. I don't care. Like
it's always Tigres, America.
Exactly. And even some of those fans are like, yeah, but if we don't do good, whatever, or we're focusing on something else.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, who cares about it then? Like, just MLS teams care about it if we beat a Liga MX team, or what? Like, what's the deal? Or if a Liga MX team does beat an MLS team, then of course you get the comments of like, yeah, bro, your league is trash, dude. Like, Cruz Azul was ass this year. How did they beat your best team, or whatever the talking point is? So I don't know. It's too weird. I don't feel like I get that in Libertadores. If someone said, "Yeah, bro, I don't really care about Libertadores this year, bro. I'm just trying to win the Argentinian league." It's like, no,
nah,
you're lying, bro. No one cares, bro.
Yeah, that's the league to win.
Exactly. Palmeiras won the Brazilian league. Good for them. But who won? Flamengo is the team that's flexing right now, or whatever.
And that's beef. And that's beef within the whole continent.
Exactly.
There's
you could flex.
teams like River, Boca, Lanús that want to go over there. And tell Flamengo, hey, we could probably beat you, or whatever
honestly,
it is.
It's similar to the sense of like, just like in the CONCACAF, where you have two countries that seem more powerful, and any other club that beats a club from those two countries, it's a flex.
Yep.
A Peruvian team beating River Plate or something, it's like people lose their minds. Like, holy God, what's going on? And that's what you want here. I don't know if it's just because I know even there's been seasons where I don't know if it stopped and went, or I don't know. It just seemed like not number one priority for like any nation for some reason. And I hope they ball out. I hope every year from now it's just serious everything. Now, of course, your friends in LA are really pissed because you go all the way to the final, you lose it. You look right, I'm sure for you guys, yes. But then you want to come back and fight for it, obviously, right? You want to get 100% round 2. Let's go. So I don't know. I hope it just brings more fans and people that care about it again. It's kind of like what you guys mentioned earlier with the US Open Cup. Some fans, like, not me, but some fans just didn't care about the US Open Cup at all. Like, even if that was the only cup they could win, the vibes were like, yeah, but it's whatever. Fine, we'll try to win a trophy or whatever. It's like, nah, dude, like a trophy is a trophy. You still got to fight for this. It's got to be valuable, to win, especially a historic one like that. So, yeah, I don't know. Hopefully everyone gets on the same page soon.
Yeah. There's going to be 2 questions. One of them, well, actually, both of them towards you. One of them actually directed towards you.
Oh.
Alex Gutierrez. How does Kevincho feel about Gadi Quintas departure?
Yeah. I mean, part of me, Gadi Kinda was a player that honestly is a fan favorite because of he was just such a nice guy, and he was kind of like Elie Sanchez when he left. I was like, God damn, like, how do we get rid of that guy? He's such a sweetheart and like was such a good player.
Sanchez.
Yeah. But at the same time, is Gadi, he had his injuries. Then when he wasn't injured, I mean, he scored like bangers against St. Louis last season that, I mean, were unreal. And his playmaking was great. But at the other sense, selfishly, I'm like, well, that's a DP spot that is now open. Maybe in June, July, we look for, a nice, cute one, a nice, I don't know, an older, maybe Giroux, I don't know, someone cute to come over here, help out Kansas City. But yeah, I don't know. No, stop. I think I'm so proud that he was on our team. He was such a baller, and I hope that, he's continuing, where did he go? I think he went back to Israel. But yeah, I just hope that his career just keeps flourishing. I now am like on full scout mode. I'm like, who are we bringing in now? That's kind of where I'm at mentally with Gotti leaving.
Okay, there's another one. I know you follow the Argentine League pretty closely.
Yeah.
Newly acquired from Seattle, Lanús player, young guy. Is he a quick yes or no question? Is he the guy?
He's a baller, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly,
God damn it.
The first thing I'm serious. The first thing my older brother said, and this guy, he's not anti MLS, but he just doesn't care. He sent me a screenshot from Ole, a sports agency in Argentina, and he was just like, "How did this kid go to your league?" And I'm like, I don't know.
Best league in the world, baby. Tell him.
Yeah, that's right. I gotta tell him. I gotta remind him. Like, hey, your Premier League, he spits at that, But no, he's like I don't know. Like from what I've heard from like some guys that work out in Argentina, they're like which is kind of cool. I don't think this is a bad thing. He's using it as a stepping stone to get out of Argentina, go to the U.S., get his name out there, then move up. I think that's perfect. I don't think that's a bad thing for the league. I think that's great. I think he's gonna be a nice. I mean, I'm not the biggest Seattle guy myself either.
But you've seen him in Lanús.
Yeah, but in Lanús, he's a baller. It's so young. It's like, God damn it. It's like, of course. So hopefully, the development wise, he goes. Here's the other thing. On the other sense, just like my Brazilian friends and Argentinian friends who follow those leagues and are starting to learn about MLS, the big fear is like, is he gonna just drop off in skill level? Is he gonna be fighting like he was in South America or maybe potentially in Europe? That's like their fear. That's always their fear, always. And a lot of my friends are like national team focused, so they're like, I want this kid. He looks good one day to be for the national team, but is he gonna teeter off and just be like a whatever player? I don't know. But a lot of times people bring up the Diego Valeri, that they're like, man, this guy looked like he had such an upward trend, and then we couldn't put him in. And it's also hard in these national teams to fit. With the national teams we're talking about, it's so hard to get there. But that's a lot of people's focus, is to get those guys. Just like you guys or people in the U.S., they're looking at players in MLS and they're like, I want him to get here and develop good, go to Europe, play against the greatest players, and become a legend, so he could come back and hopefully give us a chance for some type of international title. So I don't know. It's like a weird thing. I think South Americans are trying to, or they're still learning that
to embrace MLS.
Here, exactly, to embrace us. Because if they come over here and they're not so good, then or they're not doing so good, you failed. I mean, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
and this is the thing. I think MLS has been a springboard for a lot of players who want to. Will Almiron was one of the first guys that we seen there.
Yeah.
Tati Castellanos, come on.
Big one. Yeah.
Balling. Lodedo plays here, got a chance with the Uruguayan team. And then there's a lot of instances like that where you might not see, unlike us who have seen this league from his birth,
right?
That this is the best league. It might not be the best league, but it is something where you can get eyes. And it's not, it might not be as tactical, but the physicality here, just generally as a league, can prepare you to something bigger. And I love that for our league, especially as we're growing into better things.
Yeah, I agree.
Let me
real quick before we get off this subject, because our good friends at Scarves and Spikes, they cover Atlanta United. They're always talking about how much more time they have left with Thiago Almada. And I know I bring him up, because if I play for Argentina. And so I was just real quick, man, quick. Do you think it benefits him to stay with Atlanta United, or do you think he's gone this summer?
I mean, we're praying that he's gone this summer. I mean, all respect to my Atlanta friends, but I was shocked that he's been here this long. That's like the talking point in all of Argentina. First, he got in the World Cup by, I'm going to be honest, we had 2 injuries to get him in. 2 guys were out. Lo Celso was like our guy. And when he went down, crap. Then we had other kid he played in Lazio went down, bad injury, and actually got kicked off because he was lying that he wasn't injured, which is a whole other thing. So he might not even play for Argentina anymore. And then Thiago comes in like as a reinforcement. And of course, that was like the biggest news. Like, holy crap, an MLS kid is playing or going to the Argentinian national team for a World Cup, especially that World Cup, which meant a lot. And and then now it's like, okay, he is a baller though. He was scoring goals that just put him anywhere. The dude was hitting shots from like 40 meters out, just screamers. that
Baller.
yeah, you want him to go. And I've always said this, that I'm like national team first, club second, always. So like now I'm like, okay, I need to see how he's like Almiron is a great example. Same exact situation where he was like, this dude is so good, like so good. And then he went to Newcastle, and you remember like the
Ballin'.
hype and it balled out and all that, even though he's like rumored for Saudi Arabia, but whatever. That's a different talk. But yeah, like that's the thing. Like this summer, he's got to be gone. I would assume he's got to go, which sucks because the highlights have been amazing.
Amazing, yeah.
ESPN Argentina, like, but even let's say before Messi got here, MLS was brought up 0 times, and that's he was there. We've had Argentinians in the league, like they never talked about MLS before Messi. Thiago was brought up. I saw one day in the morning. I watched ESPN Argentina every morning, and then I saw a goal, like a highlight, Thiago Almada screamer. And then I was like, oh my God, they're talking about MLS. What the hell is happening? And that was before Messi. Obviously, now everything's completely different. But that was huge. And I was so happy for him. So, yeah, I don't know. And now people are like Atlanta fans in Argentina. That's like hilarious. That's so sick to see like Atlanta shirts down there and whatnot. So, yeah, I don't know. I think he's gone in the summer. But if he's not gone, it's a weird thing where it seems like Atlanta, just like the Jesus Ferreira, but it's a bit different. They want the right fee because they know what they have, and I hope that doesn't bring up some sourness where if he wants to get the hell out of there or whatever, and he has this opportunity, and Atlanta's like, this ain't the right amount of money. What's gonna happen? That's gonna be very dramatic. It's gonna bring a lot of drama that Atlanta does not want.
You know what though? You said something a few seconds ago. You said how hilarious is that to see an Atlanta jersey, but that kind of puts us like in the talks with the Premier League and stuff. I know we're not there yet, or like
close,
or La Liga and all that. I know that, but that's the stepping stone because.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, not really trying to clown on you guys, Edgar and Brian, but it's like people probably see it from England that are here. It's like, how funny is it to see Bryant, an Everton fan? How funny is it to see Edgar, a Fulham fan, here in the States, right?
Right.
Yeah, I've Everton pulling through, baby.
That's how things begin, and I think that's pretty cool. You find it hilarious, but I think it's pretty cool.
Desde la cuna, Everton, baby, let's go.
I was born in Liverpool, bro. Let's go.
Come on, you whites, baby.
Come on, you blues. Quickly.
Yeah.
We are all here, USMT fans, and I'm a double fan because La Selecta, El Salvador,
Yeah.
But as a USMT fan, we've had these conversations, well, especially me. Berhalter is not the guy. Is Peter Vermees the guy for the US?
Y'all don't want, trust me. Okay, here's the thing. He said no to a U.S. men's national team spot like 2 years ago, a year ago, which like, god damn, that would have been sick. But just for him to move on. Here's the thing. I know some buddies or some people that played under Peter. Okay, when he played with Peter when he was a player, played under Peter when he was first starting, and the guy is fucking Captain America. I'm telling you, the guy bleeds USA, and he doesn't. Again, he's no nonsense. I don't even know how he would have handled the Gio situation. Okay,
benched,
but I probably yes, and he would probably straight up be in a press conference and be like, "That fucker was talking shit. I'm sick of that, and I'm not gonna have that on my team," or whatever. Or Daddy was bothering me, and I'm sick of that. He is so cutthroat that maybe that's what Team USA needs. But I will say this about Greg. I think it was like he had his time, like he did his thing, and it's just like now next chapter, like chapter 2, are we bringing in a big name to come in, like a Jose Mourinho or something psychotic? Is it Zidane get in here or whatever, or is that too much of is that just too much of a jump where it's just too much attention on the coach, too much of whatever, more drama? I don't know. I think Peter is a dude. With everything I just said before, just ignore what I said. But in the sense of, as a coach, he's so good at like managing just attitudes and managing, different personalities. And now we have USA players that are fucking big. Like you got guys in Europe doing good things, and you got like guys that are getting cocky because they should be. They're balling, and that's awesome. We just need a guy that can handle that. If we get another dude that's not really good at that and is awkward in fucking press conferences and makes goofy substitutions or doesn't make a damn gut substitution when you're down in a World Cup or whatever, you can't have that anymore. That's gotta be done. I wish, like, if I put my Team USA hat on, I wish it would have been before this Copa America. Like, it would have been sick to have a new coach in. And yeah, Copa America, like, if USA had a good coach, it would be so fucking sick that USA like knocks out like an Argentina or a Brazil and then go to a final. Imagine in USA, whatever. But this is like Copa America should be his last run, just like Scaloni in Argentina. Copa America should be like, this is a restart, and now we focus all on the next World Cup. New coaches, refresh, restart, even though it's going to hurt so bad that it's in our backyard and we have to deal with possibly USA not playing well. Who knows? Or Argentina not playing well, or whatever the fuck it is. But it's just, what's the bigger prize? Come on, 2026 in the US. Let's go.
I mean, we all know the US is going to be world champs in 2026.
Right,
I mean,
exactly. The stars are aligned. The stars are aligned. Guys. Come on.
Because speaking of World Cups, the last one that won it was one of the greatest players of all time, Lionel Messi, who is now in MLS. And the only reason I'm Argentinian is because I'm Salvadorian. So by affiliation and by knowing them.
and the baby blue and the flag.
And the baby blues and the flags.
That's right.
We're very similar. And there was one time that the great Maradona had said that Jorge Mágico González was the greatest footballer ever. So how are we not going to be Argentina and Salvadorians? That's
right, that's right. That's true.
Like
I have
law.
a lot of friends that, that is a good point. And yeah, Maradona was a guy that was just so no nonsense. So if he meant that shit. Like you would think he'd be like, yeah, when I saw Pele in the 70s, I was like, man, I'm trying to be like him and be better than him. Or what? Dude was like, nah. Have you heard about this guy in El Salvador? You guys don't know about this guy.
I mean, it was either that or they really liked doing extracurricular activities.
Hey, they might be homies in that sense.
Well, this might be a good time. This might be a good time to bring up this question. So,
oh god,
Mo Football asks for you, Kevin. Favorite soccer
Mo?
player outside of Messi and Maradona?
Oh god, favorite all time. Jesus Christ. So when I was younger,
I didn't know Jesus Christ played soccer.
Yeah, bro. His name's Graham Zusi. You guys never heard of
Graham Zusi.
No, man. Okay, this is weird. He's my favorite player just because. Before I say his name, this is a player that played in River that I thought, like, I would watch clips. My brothers would talk about him, and I thought, yeah, this is a hero. No one's ever gonna be like him in the sense of like in a River colors. But this guy Ortega played in River Plate, and he was such a the guy was a little guy. He was like Maradona almost. The way he could control the ball, the way the ball would fly around, and he wasn't like this big name player that went to Europe and had all these crazy stories like Maradona did or Zidane or whatever. He didn't have that aura, but he played for River, a club that I just grew up watching, and I was just like, that is our like messiah, a guy that was like, he was so happy. That's why I love Messi, because he always had a good attitude. He wasn't even like a cocky guy. Ortega was just like smiling on the pitch and just having a good time, heading the ball, scoring the most insane, goofy goals. That was my favorite player. There was another guy named Bellucci that I talked about recently that I loved watching, who also, dude, not a big name. Like, probably nobody knows who he is. But the 4 years of me developing and watching football, I watched this guy that he was only there for 2 years, or 2 or so years, and he was so fun to watch. It was so cool to watch, and that's where I keep those memories. It wasn't like this big name player or like Maradona or Messi or whatever, but then it became Messi only because he was the actual player that I remember watching, from like little hairy fucking Messi running around with Ronaldinho all the way to when he went to PSG. I got to see the whole arc, and that's why I have like just like a lot of people, just weird bond with him, like spiritually. Like, I love that I got to see the whole thing, and now of course I get to see him retire, which is sick. But yeah, so I think when people say what's your favorite player, like I don't mean the best. That's what I mean. I don't mean he's the best player.
And I can relate, because it's like, Maybe to some people is obvious, but I feel like my generation and the future generations is not that obvious.
Right.
Because I was a
Yeah.
late bloomer. And my favorite player, 'cause I was learning the game and
Yeah.
watching it. I didn't really have a Premier League team at first. I picked Chelsea out of spite. Now I can tell you that story after. But my
Yeah.
favorite player, when watching the game and stayed as my favorite player, and unfortunately a lot of Galaxy fans have a poor perspective of him, is Steven Gerrard.
Oh
The
yeah,
most
let's
complete
go,
player
Stevie G.
Yeah,
Hell yeah, I
the
love
most
Stevie
complete
G.
player that I've
Yeah.
ever seen play this game to this day.
Don't mention the
Nobody can
slip,
play the both
but-
sides of the ball like he can, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, he was great. I love Stevie G. I became a Liverpool fan that same year. I became a Sporting fan. I just wanted a team in Europe, and Liverpool had like we had. Oh no, did we have Mascherano? I think he just left. I can't remember, but we had one Argentinian. Or maybe it was Maxi. Maxi was there, and I'm like, yes, let's go. I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm gonna root for this team. Thus, they don't like the royal family. They don't even like to be called English. I love that. It's like a Liverpool thing. And I'm like, hell yeah, this is my team. So I get that. And Stevie G, is legend, icon. Come on. I love that. That's a good answer.
So, Kevin, we had last season, we had a conversation with a new friend of the show, Matt Baker from
Yeah.
the STL Flyover Footy podcast. Unfortunately, that episode never aired because we didn't hit record.
No. Let's keep it, bro.
No!
Hold on.
You
I
always on
forgot to hit
purpose.
record. It wasn't you
okay.
on Edgar. Edgar, you're an angel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a
job.
dumbass. I'm the dumbass.
What I was
Sorry,
getting at
Matt.
was that we had this wonderful conversation with him where we were talking about the history of the city of St. Louis in the development of soccer in the United States and how important the city has been. I mentioned how in the 1980s, when people were very anti-soccer in the United States, St. Louis was the one location where the U.S. could actually call itself home because Anheuser-Busch actually poured a lot of money into building the U.S. a training academy, a camp, and a stadium where they would play their home games. And nobody else cared about soccer at the time. And then obviously that's changed, over the last 30, almost 40 years now.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, right, St. Louis has an MLS team. A lot of people wondered why didn't have one from the very beginning.
Right.
But Kansas City did. So out of nowhere, you guys have a rivalry. I think in the past, your rivals were either Colorado or Chicago. I'm not.
RSL was a big one because that 2013 final was so dramatic that every time we played each other, it was fights, red cards, and stuff like that. Colorado was 1-2, and then the league forced Minnesota on us when no one honestly gave a shit about Minnesota.
Different demographic. You guys are
very.
north.
You guys are both cold.
Right, that's true. I guess that's what it was. And they said they called it the friendliest rivalry. It was like this horrible. It was just honestly, it was propaganda. They were just trying to make a rivalry
Dude,
out of nothing.
MLS throughout the years has been really cringe. So don't worry about that.
Come on, yeah.
It is gonna get even cringier before we get to be
Sure.
at least
Oh,
top 20.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Well, do you
so-
mean top 20? We're number one. fool.
I forgot. We're number one.
It
My bad.
slipped.
I
It
forgot.
slipped again. Damn.
My bad. Greatest league in the
well-
world, baby. MLS. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Edgar.
so what I was getting at too was like, we did talk to him, and one of the things that he brought up was like, hey, you guys got to come down here. We have these smoke masters out, in the parking lot before the games. The tailgates are amazing, and he's like, and then we asked him about, hey, what about Kansas City? I know from my time living in Kansas, there's always that border war rivalry with Kansas and Missouri, the Yahoos versus the Jayhawks, right?
Right.
I mean the Wahoos.
The
And
Wahoos,
so
right.
I'm like, are you guys gonna, something gonna happen? Is it gonna be organic? Do you think the league's gonna force it? And then all of a sudden he's like, it's kind of exists already. He goes, we're like, we've been tossing around some names, but because of the fact that there's Kansas City barbecue and there's St. Louis barbecue, probably people have been calling it the Barbecue. And I was
Yeah.
like,
Give it the hand
sounds
claps,
pretty
bro. Give it the
badass.
hand claps.
And then we were like, oh, what does this mean? Are you gonna have smoke masters from Kansas City and St. Louis, in the same
Right,
parking
battle
lot,
it
and
out.
battle it out to see who has the tastiest barbecue? That sounds the most delicious derby I ever want to see. So, from your point of view, how do you see St. Louis inclusion into the league, and what do you think about the barbecue?
Yeah, I think when they came in, I'm all for more teams or more cities with teams because like I'm KU all the way through. I became KU, family members that went to KU. I just don't like anything Missouri. I never did. And even down to the history, I'm like, yeah, they've never been on a good side of history, but at least they had some US soccer history. And that's like the weirdest thing. A lot of this was so goofy because how some of this started was a small podcast which had like 300 followers titled themselves as the Soccer Capital of America podcast or whatever the hell they called themselves. And then Sporting already had a podcast with that name. And because they have to follow copyright, which I totally disagree with this because I went through the same shit with them. They had to do the cease and desist. Then it started. This all happened before we even touched a ball and between each other. And then it rolled into people, obviously that podcast got bigger because of that. It's just great marketing, but it wasn't their fault that Sporting freaking had to do the cease and desist or they lose their freaking copyright. Whatever. Anyways, it was so cringe, so annoying. And then it got into the talks of like, what is the real soccer capital? I'm going to let you know, up until last year, I didn't even know Kansas City called themselves that. I have zero idea that was even a thing. I knew the U.S. men's national team trained here. There's a training facility. I know all that. I know all of that. But I didn't know anything about anything else. I didn't know about St. Louis. I know nothing about Missouri. So when that stuff was coming up, it was just like so annoying. And then with the barbecue or like the name thing, it felt forced, but I let that conversation happen to actual Kansans and actual Missourians or whatever they're called. I think that's up to them. To me, I don't think of it as a rivalry only because it just came out of nowhere for me. Now, the other thing is a lot of those fans were Sporting fans. The talk for behind the scenes, especially some players, were just kind of like, well, if they're so passionate, what happened to these last 25 years or 30 years that they never had an MLS team? And they didn't even, what's going on? And all St. Louis could do is get rid of professional sports teams. They just leave. And that's where I was just like, that's a good point. I have no idea. So I was even learning about that. I'm like, wait, that is true. I mean, and then here's the other thing. They do the Uruguay thing. They do the Uruguay thing where they go, we won 50,000 cups before you.
Before anybody played soccer with shoes on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, there was no offsides, and we won 9 U.S.
The
cups.
balls were
right?
coconuts.
And I was like,
the balls were
right.
coconuts.
The trophy thing is hilarious. But here's the thing. What did come out of it, eventually, I think it is now starting to become a real rivalry, maybe, hopefully. I can't base it off of a year, but there was a lot of shit talking. They beat us several times during the regular season. And then we had to bounce their ass out so hard.
Oof.
That in that moment was the closest.
Savage.
That was the closest I felt like I was watching a River Boca game and we beat Boca. That was the closest time where my mood, I went into Houston, which is the team that kicked us out. Brother, if you pull up my stream, I was chilling. I was like, Ache, score 10 goals. I don't give a shit, dude. We did it because the noise was so annoying. And here's the thing that I took it a little personally because I had a cease and desist. I went through the same BS and I supported the podcast, but my DMs, my fucking tag was just nothing but horrific nonsense for like an entire season. It was just like, how could you support them? Oh, Mr. Cease and desist, all this shit when people didn't know I went through the same shit, the exact same shit. Like I had to change everything. I had to do so many things just to be kind of cool with the club at the time. So it rubbed me the wrong way. So now I'm like, look, I'm cool with hella St. Louis fans. I think because we got to kick them out, it was like now we're kind of, it feels even again. It feels like, okay,
humbled.
A little bit humbled. Right. I mean,
humbled. So what I'm hearing
is
an original 96 team had a new team come into their city, into their region, geographical vicinity. Fans have said 96 team went to that team and now they want to bark at you.
Right.
Where has that happened?
Right. That's
where has that happened?
Familiar,
where has that happened?
Yeah, and guess what? Here's the other thing. You guys said it at the very beginning. And I'm still credit to them, obviously. This doesn't, because it's still sorry on the Kansas side now. But they basically get a fucking history book of what not to do and what to do.
Yeah.
Where to put your stadium.
Yep.
That was a big mistake on our end. They put in slap dab in the middle or in their downtown, Perfect. Sick. What to do with pre-games, what to do with supporter groups, what not to do, all that stuff you learn slowly. Just like with you guys, you have a neighbor now that
noisy neighbors.
They get noisy neighbors. They seem like they're they get a lot of the attention, and you guys just went through hell with a certain guy too. So there's that. But you guys have the same feeling as us, where we're just like, we got to get back to refresh. We used to be a gold standard. It became a bronze standard, and everybody is ahead of us now, and we got to get back. And also those people, it's funny. It's like deja vu, or they forget what happened because listen, you guys were our fans, brother. You were in our stadium, so you knew the vibes before, and now you get this. It's like a weird, I don't know, it's a weird thing. But I honestly will say a lot of St. Louis fans after the playoffs, after all that, are now coming back going, all right, there are benefits to joining MLS in 2023. Like, yeah, no shit. And say San Jose, what's the news? The new team. The not Loyals, the whatever, the other California team that is joining for next year.
Oh, San Diego Loyals.
Oh, San Diego.
Yes. Yeah, San Diego.
The San Demons. No.
Right.
I'm sorry, not San Diego Loyals.
They were the FC, right? They should have been the Loyal, but
the whale's penis.
Those guys.
Wait, what?
They're gonna wait. Hold up. Those guys are gonna have the same thing. They're gonna look at what St. Louis did, what Austin did, what LAFC did, and they're gonna have a head start. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's interesting. In the future, I don't know if we're done like there are rumors of like, I don't know. The commissioner said he wants a certain fixed amount or whatever nonsense.
32.
32
right?
was like the number. I don't know. Where are we? Are we there or no?
We're at 30 right now, I think.
Oh,
or 31.
Or 31 now. We have one more. Jesus.
Yeah. And
yeah.
I think it's very American to do that because the NBA does that, the NFL does that, and you have a certain standard when it comes to playoffs and all that shit. The thing is, though, the market aspect of it, it's bar none, hands down, the top thing that can make you money.
Right. Yeah.
And you want drama. You want drama. Kansas playing St. Louis in the first round. See who owns the state. You have in our state. You have 3 and then coming 4 with San Diego, San Jose, LAFC, and us. And then you have it on the other side with Miami, Orlando. Then you have NYFC, Red Bulls, and then you have Cincy. Dude, it's building up to be something that we could really be proud of.
Yes,
because as much as you hate these San Luis fans, we hate our LAFC fans, we hate our San Jose fans, we hate our San Diego fans, and even in Texas. Dallas, Austin, Houston. You know what I mean? And it's getting to that point where it's going to be, already said it, the best league in the world.
Right. Yes, I agree. It's totally not a bad thing. So like now that it feels like a bigger or a better rivalry, not just because an email was sent, I think that's great. That's a good feeling. Especially like New York, New York had this team in New Jersey. It felt like they're missing this market. Then you have this team playing in a baseball stadium, but then that team's about to get a baseball stadium. They're about to get their own stadium and a freaking good location, and it's gonna be nasty. And those big cities like you guys and New York, these are the biggest markets, dude. This is where the money is at. This is where like the fans are. This is where the immigrants are. This is gonna be great. I mean, great. There's a rivalry, sure, in England. You got like, this town hates that town, and it's been like that for 100 years. Yeah, but
Liverpool, Everton.
Right, exactly. But you have in the U.S. you have people that are so passionate about their little borough or their side of their city compared to the other side of this. It's so awesome that's coming up, and it's in basketball. You see it in other sports, but in football and soccer, it's gonna be
And the thing is, because it's such a big country.
Yeah,
the boroughs that you're talking about is going to be very intense in that certain region of the country.
Yeah,
and that just makes better for American players that want to come up into the system, or like we just mentioned earlier, people that want to use this as a jump board to the next level, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So we got one more topic to cover before we head out because we're at 2 hours and we love talking to you. And I know we're going to talk more to you.
Dude, you've been fucking great, bro.
Hey, thanks.
This is why we start early, so we can go on forever.
Right.
Go ahead, Edgar. Go ahead.
There is one thing we wanted to ask you because I know you mentioned this, in Twitter, and I think you mentioned it in your pod as well. And sos Argentino, and you were really excited about Messi coming to MLS. Obviously,
Yeah.
he didn't come to KC. But you know what? He's still gonna be here on there. I mean, you heard Miami's gonna be playing against SKC, and it's not gonna be at at the Blue Hell and
Yeah.
at the court. It's gonna be at Arrowhead Stadium,
Right.
which is massive. I mean, I've been there before. It's a huge stadium,
Yeah.
and you were really excited about like, yeah, I'm gonna get some tickets. I'm gonna get some tickets. What happened with that?
Nah. Well, okay, here's the thing. I love that they moved it because this is like just like with Pele when he came here, it was like a circus show. They showed him around the whole league. It was like a big deal, and that's when soccer was like that was like a whole other world when Pele was here. So imagine Pele came here. I mean, they would be moving games to bigger stadiums, get the money, get the more viewers. In my point of view, the price is insane, but at least it's 22,000 seats. I wasn't even going to get a chance to pray to go to that game. That's it. That's sold out, done. I'm not even going to get a chance. At least when you have a 60, 70,000 seat stadium, the tickets will be pricey or whatever, but you get a chance to go. If I wanted to take a family member and like go, I'm going to splurge. This is going to be our one time to see Messi actually playing soccer before he's literally like in crutches. This is it. It's great. So I know sporting people took it all different type of people. Some of the like old heads were really pissed off. Season ticket holders, some of them got screwed over for sure. Some of the like the seating was goofy. I don't really understand the whole situation, but of course they were upset because they had a nice juicy little spot next to the field or whatever. Now they're further back or whatever the deal is. But for me, it's just the opportunity for more people to go. That was it. I don't think I'm going. I'm not going. I've already kind of told everyone like, don't surprise me with tickets. I'm not going, but I'm happy that more people get to go. Just the people that were upset about it, I just thought it was like, guys, I know this is like Messi's not Messi for everyone. Some people do not care like at all, which is totally fine. So when they heard this news, people were just kind of like, what the hell? This is embarrassing, blah, blah, blah. This guy's going to be here for maybe another season and he's ciao. Okay. He's done. All right. If that, okay. Cause there's many rumors. Anyways, the thing is, I don't know if we're going to have another, like, what else? What's the next one? We're going to wait another 50 years before we get another Messi-esque guy or like another Neymar-esque player or Ronaldo player to come here and bring more attention. This is such a good way to grow the game. But here's the problem. MLS, I think they did a horrible job with how this has been going last season. The tickets for these games are so disgusting that it's like, no, the normal people are not going to these games, right? We all know that. The problem is we are playing in stadiums that are 22,000 seaters, all right? Goddamn backyards compared to him playing in Camp Nou where you had 80, 100,000 people where, yeah, you had some of the rich heads and then you had some people that got snuck in $50 tickets and, got to say, I went to Camp Nou. I got to watch Messi. It's like, bro, we have to do that for now. We have to do it. Moving the games would be sick. I wish we played more football stadiums if it was possible or whatever. But of course, there's football season. There's college football. You have that problem as well. So it makes it hard. But yeah, but I don't know. I just don't think. I know I'm biased, so it's like really hard for me to like take that hat off. But I just think the more eyes or more opportunity people to go and see him and just say you could and be part of like that history and then yeah, it's the end of his career. But you get to, I would go. I would want to see Neymar. If it wasn't Messi and Neymar was here, I would go to Arrowhead. Listen, I like
Neymar.
Hey, no, there's no Neymar slander in this freaking
as a Barcelona fan, dude. As a Barcelona fan, he should have never been on that team. To be honest.
Whoa!
He should have left. I'll tell you that much.
Let me ask you a question. Something that Edgar's brought up. I guess in a scale of as a player. Or how do I even phrase this? Like
Neymar's not top five in his generation.
We're not talking about Neymar.
Oh, wrong person.
So, right, the MLS has to keep moving the needle, right? Edgar is always manifested, or not always, but lately, Edgar's like 3 times his age. Edgar's manifested Mbappe to the Galaxy, right? What if Mbappe comes now? That means no Champions League. He has a World Cup already, right? is that like
No, but
a failure in Mbappe's career? Like somehow the MLS breaks the bank and gives them a record deal, world deal, aside from Saudi Arabia, because we can never match whatever Saudi Arabia was going to give anybody.
we're gonna have to do the same thing with Messi. Have like every team pay
Yeah.
for him or whatever.
Yeah. How do you see that? Like, do you see that as a one-day possibility where it's like, damn, this is the next Messi. We're going to get him before he even wins the Champions League.
Right. I mean, depending on how because you remember all these Super League talks and these weird Champions League new formats and all these things are changing, that the aura of going like, yeah, because everyone right now is going to go, it's going to look really bad if he leaves Europe and goes to Saudi Arabia for the rest of his career because he never got to be on top of a European club and he plays in, Uber Eats or whatever. But I'm going to say this.
Nah, hold on. Hold the fuck up.
Listen,
Uber Eats FC, bro.
They got-
I'd be the captain. I could eat, bro.
That shit has a name, a ring to it.
that is
Better than DoorDash FC.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's true.
what would be the colors of Uber Eats FC?
Wait, what is there?
Black, green,
Is
and
it
white.
green? Black and
white.
green? Oh, okay.
Black, green, and
red and
white.
white.
So Austin colors. Fuck
Austin.
that. Austin colors. Get the fuck out of here. Fuck that.
Yeah,
Nah,
I
we love
think
you guys,
if he
Austin.
came here, like, obviously, selfishly, would be like, yeah, bro, come out here. But the thing is, the players are. I know players in their heads. What he won a World Cup. I don't think he goes, I won a World Cup, I can chill, because he won it so young that now he's like, oh, what else can I do? If he comes out here, what would it be? Like, I want more money. I want more attention. He has the attention. Dog is a ball. It's like Haaland coming here. It's like everyone's going to be like, ooh, oh, God, if Haaland came here, played for New York City FC.
Now you're talking nasty, bro. Now you're talking nasty.
This would be, hey, both of them over here would be crazy, but it would be,
One day.
it would take so much. Yeah, it would take so much that it would be like European football is just doesn't have the aura anymore. The Champions League is ass, or the Super League exists, and like there's no competition anymore. Then I could see players going like, oh, hell no, I want to be able to play multiple teams at any level and prove that I'm such a baller and blah blah blah, instead of playing the same 5 teams because they paid to be there. I would see that. So it's like kind of messed up to say this, but like pray for like a Super League or something for Europe just to make it a mess for players to come out here. That makes sense.
Follow-up question. Super League happens.
Yeah.
All right. Do you break the bank and say it's undisclosed? Like somehow in the day and age of the internet, it doesn't get out. You pay. Is it worth paying all the money in the world to get Haaland and Mbappe
Kind of like
at the same time?
kind of like
Young-
Do you think it pays off? Do you think it pays off?
and kind of like the
It's only 2 players.
Hold on. Kind of like the Kansas City proposed deal to Cristiano.
Right, with Ronaldo.
Yep.
That one's different because he's an old man. But
No,
if they
chill.
came in young,
He's still a baller.
if they came in, it's still. I mean, he would do the Messi factor where we would have like 1 billion people watching us, and
Yeah.
I mean, who the fuck watched Saudi League? I didn't even know it existed. So
Me neither.
now, and people think the same thing about MLS. Trust me, people are like, I barely even know how to watch it. Now with Apple and all the shit, we would have been crazy. But if you bring those 2 young, worth it. Imagine the training sessions where you got now players are playing alongside these. Mbappe could score a goal off of the most filthy touch ever. And you're going to see that every training session. Every training session, your goalkeeper is going to have to defend goals against Kylian Mbappe. Okay. And then potentially you have to play against Haaland at 27 or whatever. Let's pretend it's a couple years from now. That would be humongous. Plus the eyes. It's like a trickle effect. I would say it's worth it. I would even tell fuck it. Even though he's going to play for, none of those players are going to play for Sporting. Make some of our portion of our earnings to those players, because that's going to pull in. Messi coming here is great, but obviously the story of him being older and kind of just vibing and doing his whatever thing is always going to make those other fans of other players or other leagues go, yeah, but that's still not a serious league. If we get serious players at their peak performance here, oh, dude,
whole different level.
Bye.
Whole different level. Then we'll really be saying MLS is number
They will
one.
say number 1 for real. Yes, yes.
It's
What do
already
you mean,
is.
Rudy?
What
It
you
already
mean?
is number 1.
This is the greatest league of all
Right.
time. Just because we suck that much Nah.
Right. Nah.
Imagine implementing DPs in Europe. Come on, so they couldn't do it.
They wouldn't know what to do with that. They wouldn't know what to do with that.
No.
Come on.
That scares
You
me,
will
no.
see Luton Town winning championships. Come on.
Right, exactly. I agree.
Kevin, thank you again for fucking joining us for 2 hours, dude.
Yeah.
We
let's
had
go.
no idea we were going to go on for this long.
No
But
worries.
again, thank you. You've been very vocal with your statements. We love the fact that you are who you are, especially because you can say fuck on your show just like us.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
once again, thank you again for joining us on this special Thursday episode of News Across the Galaxy. Everybody who's tuning in, we're going to try to do more of these where we talk about other teams and have them come in.
Ooh, could I announce the next one?
Well, hold on.
Okay, I guess.
Dang.
Hold the fuck on.
Not even
man.
teasing
Nagging
it.
friends.
I know, chill, bro. Let me set up the fucking
Oh,
thing.
I can tease.
God
I'm
damn.
cool. I'm cool.
You're not a great tease, by the way.
That's why you're behind the camera. Stay behind the camera.
Stay behind the camera. Yeah, stay behind the camera. But it is that. We've talked to a couple people from our other league, and we are privileged to have you in our index of people that we've talked to.
No, seriously. Thank you guys for having me. It's always fun doing these, especially it's harder during the season. I'm just like you guys are aware, and it's a nightmare. So like when we get to sneaking in right before, I'm all for it, and it's always fun. And plus, like I said, I never really got to talk to Galaxy guys and get their point of view, and we are similar in so many ways. Just you have 3 more cups than us, but whatever. No big deal.
We're originals, baby. We're originals.
Yeah, exactly. Blue bloods stay together. That's right. But thank you guys for having me. Seriously.
Yeah,
It's
and then
been
hopefully, when the season starts, if we do play each other, which we will,
yes.
we would love to have you back. If you're
I'm
open
down.
to that, you have the open invitation right now to join us back again
Hell
and talk
yeah.
some more shit, because I'm mad at the fact that you guys have Alan Polido and he's not on my team, because I want that guy on my team. So I
Yeah.
love that.
Johnny, look, my team's pretty sexy sometimes. You know, sometimes it's pretty good.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
What's up, Edgar?
yeah.
How you doing?
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, thanks a lot, Kevin. Man. I really appreciate it. I'm still out here in your backyard.
Yeah,
man.
thanks.
I
Stay out
got
here.
lost.
Enjoy it.
You gotta
You're
let
gonna
him
love
out.
it.
Let him out.
I mean, I'm gonna start chanting "Rock Chalk Jayhawk." Maybe
Let's
Baby
go.
Jay will come out here and get me, and bring me back home to Allen Fieldhouse.
Yes. Yeah, no, yeah. I'm glad. I didn't even know you're a freaking Jayhawk. Let's go. I love to hear that.
There it is. Before we leave, Kevin Cho, El Kevin, El Boludo.
Boludo. Yes.
Aside from Messi being the greatest, you're number 2, sir.
Let's go. I'm coming for you, Messi. All right. Watch your ass, baby. I'll see you. Kansas City.
Plug
Let's
in
fucking go.
where people could find you.
I think everything as of right now is all Kevin CHO_TV. And if it's not that, then try harder. Look a little better. But
Perfect.
It's TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Threads. I don't even know everything. For now.
Edgar.
Hey, Kevin. Once again, thank you so much for coming on. I always tell this to people that join us, our NAGn friends, which is,
Yes,
we really
the invite.
appreciate what you do, man. Because we were talking before we came on about what's going on with journalism, and it's pods like yours, pods like the ones in Charlotte, Atlanta, Chicago, Colorado,
St.
or
Louis,
good friends
Colorado,
across,
all these
St.
guys.
Louis.
Yeah.
These are the guys that really passionate about the clubs, that care about the club, enough to get in front of a mic and and give you the news and say it straight, without any kind of filter, and yes, it's just straight from the source, man. So thank you so much for what you do. Thank you so much for joining us, and we really look forward to having you on again, during the season. Anyway, you guys can find me on Twitter, on Instagram is Edgar Nags, and now to Mr. Eddie.
Hey.
Yeah, to echo what Edgar said, thank you so much, man, for being on. And we know as podcasters, it's like we do this out of passion. There's no money.
Yes.
There's
No.
there's no gratitude. People hate us too.
Yeah,
Not everyone
For
agrees
real.
with us, right? So
Yeah.
we definitely do appreciate what you do, because we love the league. I don't know if we've mentioned that before. We love the league, despite the assholes that try to burn down
Tear
the
it
10
down.
freeway on the street.
Number one in the league, baby. Let's go. Number one in the world.
Yeah. And we're doing our best here to just bring you, the most entertaining. We're trying to connect the league as much as we can, bringing special guests of obviously Kevin Cho is like an amazing guest. Even with your background, the ghost of Milkinson has been like roaming
That's
around.
right, baby. He's forever in here.
Yeah. And not to take the shine away from Kevin Cho, but we're happy to announce that on Sunday. On Sunday we'll have another live show. Hopefully you can tune in and throw some comment and money if you want to. We take super chats.
Donations, all right, man.
We have Christian Polanco from the Cooligans.
Hey, Cooligans, our Cooligan brother.
Yes,
Let's go.
joining us on Sunday. So that's super dope. But you can find me on social media as Eddie Nags. I think that's all my social medias are Eddie Nags, except my MySpace. Don't look for that, right?
Well, my MySpace is Lil Pimp 69 now. Now you guys can find me as Brian Nags on Instagram / X, Twitter, whatever it's called now.
All of them.
And as usual, when the stands, when the Galaxy plays, or when somebody talks shit about the Galaxy, I'll be there just like taking it because we do suck. So it is what it is. Once again, thank you to Kevin. The Kevin Cho show.
Yes,
Kevin Cho bottom. What is it? _ TV.
That's right. Yes.
Make sure you guys follow him. Follow his rants because the last rant you made was fucking amazing. And I love when you just straight up tell people to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, for real. Let's go. We need more of that. Come on.
And I love this shit. From Bryant. Yes, sir.
Big forgetting.
And everybody in the chat.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm
Everybody
saying.
in the chat.
Yeah.
You guys are fucking amazing.
We figured a way to make this happen, by the way. Because Kamicho actually is like, he's got his personal life to deal with, and this is the time he was available. So we appreciate you, but we also appreciate the people that tuned in at this time. So
Yeah.
thank you, everyone.
And it's
Thank
been
you all
around the
60
league.
million or whatever it was.
67 million, sir. Chill.
Let's go.
67 million. That's all on the chat. But yeah, you guys in the chat have been amazing. Thank you for the guys' questions. Very insightful. This is how I know MLS fans in general are tuned in.
Yeah, for sure.
They're asking like real questions. Except for this question, why are you a little bitch? What the fuck, bro? Why you gotta
That actually
ask?
might be a pretty deep question. I don't know. Let's think about it.
Why am I a little bitch? I
Yeah.
have no idea, to be honest. So that does it from us. A News Across the Galaxy. Kevin Cho, Kevin,
Thank
El
you, guys.
Boludo.
Thank you for having
Thank
me,
you for
guys.
joining us. From Brian, Edgar, Kevin, Eddie on the ones and twos. We are out of here. Thank you once again joining the News Across the Galaxy gang. As always, keep on nagging.
Yeah.
Keep on nagging.
Keep on nagging.